Bounce to the bounce, bounce to the reload. Bounce to the bounce, bounce to the reload.
Jesus.
Bounce to the bounce, bounce to the
It's
reload.
not bounce, bruv.
Shut up.
It's not bounce.
Listen.
Bruv, the name of the song
Haters
is
gonna hate, all right?
Bound to the Reload, bruv.
All right, listen. Black leather gloves, no sequence.
That's a different song, bruv.
No.
Huh?
It's a different genre.
I don't care, bro. I do
not.
garage. No one likes it. So how about this?
Right.
But you don't do garage. That's the point.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of This Could
And
Terribly.
Did a little
I
purge
feel
thing.
that. We didn't even rehearse that. That was kind of fire. Yeah, you are live and direct on This Could End Terribly, episode 3, and here we are remotely recording remotely.
Remotely.
If anybody asks, episode 3 recorded remotely.
Yeah. Virtually.
Until lockdown is over.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to share households.
Yeah. So we continue to be law-abiding citizens.
We are here via Zoom.
Amen.
Zav still managed to be 1 hour late for the Zoom.
can I just say, you can tell a man's A-list when he's an hour late to his own yard.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. He showed up
Love you,
late
man.
to a meeting in his house.
In his own yard?
I can explain.
It's mad.
Explain then.
Basically, I got a call from a broadcaster.
Oh, a local, a little one, small one, or?
A national one.
Are you sure you want to tell the streets about this right now, Zav? Are you sure?
boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold up.
Oh.
We move. But cut long story short, I was an hour late, but I'm here eating saucisson. Yeah.
Your podcast could never.
Well,
podcast
we've
never.
Saucisson.
listen, we've discussed a couple times in the pod before that certain men are local,
And some manner global.
certain men get global networks wanting to do
Listen,
things that can't
I
be
think,
discussed at this
you know
stage.
what? To be honest with you, can we just give a round of applause for the hundreds of listens that we've had over the past?
Amen.
First thing.
Amen. Hundreds and hundreds.
You guys make me feel so warm inside, honestly.
So warm inside.
The ones that are sharing the thing as well. I mean, God, you guys. God, this is...
We're live in the group chats. There's group chats chatting about us, you know.
Like, people are talking about us in WhatsApps.
It's a blessing.
I mean, what a time to be alive, bro.
It's a blessing.
Plus 4 in that.
I mean,
Come
like, crazy. But no, hope everybody is doing well, especially my UK people who this week have gone into lockdown 2.0, as we spoke about on the last one. Came as a bit of a surprise last weekend when Boris came out when he did. The rumours started flying out on Friday night that it was coming, and then by Saturday night, it was official. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a bit. But shout out all of our listeners, right? But the UK, we're thinking about you, man. We're all in this together. But before we get into all of that, gentlemen, how are you, man? It's good to see you guys on Zoom.
Y'all looking healthy on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, on camera.
What you saying, man? Zavi, how you been?
You know what? I'm all right. Do I look all right in the camera? Here?
You look great, mate.
Okay, cool.
But you're gonna have to get
Even though no
you're
one's
gonna have
gonna
to get
see
used
you,
to
sir.
looking good on camera, otherwise.
I know. I miss you guys, man.
I miss you too, bruv.
Listen,
It's been a few days, but
this week has been. To be honest with you, this week has been a bit mad.
This
in
week
terms
has
of, like,
been a
work.
madness.
Yeah.
Putting like the art stuff aside, like
Yeah.
work, day job, mad.
been a crazy week to be in the financial markets.
Yeah, yeah.
Boy.
Little old election.
Just a little bit.
There's a little
In
vote.
that small little country over there, just
There's a little vote.
But you know what I didn't
happening.
like though? Like the fact that Trump started out being like a freaking sore loser on this thing. Like, and saying he's going to do some sort of investigation, bring it to the Supreme Court. The fuck out of here.
Big bitch energy.
Huh?
It's big bitch energy.
No one was talking shit when he won the election and people were questioning like how rigged and how flawed.
I mean, to be fair,
it was.
Democrats spent 4 years dragging him through court on the whole Russia thing.
To be fair,
so
you're
we
right.
did spend we spent years chatting shit about it. But fact is that
But you didn't see Obama doing that ish at the time.
yeah, because he got a big advance on a book deal and disappeared to make something for Netflix. Bruv, pay me. I shut my mouth about an election till I've done my 8 years. I'm out of here.
I
bruv.
read an article the other day or last night about Rudy Giuliani and what happened to him after he left
guy,
the
bruv.
mayoral role in New York, right?
Yeah.
This man, disappeared after becoming the mayor, and I think his last 3 months is when 9/11 hit, and he went off and he started doing like public appearances for like $250K a pop. Like within like 5 years, he had made like $30 million.
It's the hustle, baby.
Like it's crazy.
It's the
man.
hustle,
Even
baby.
after tax.
And I know that's why a lot of these politicians
still
get
good.
into this shit. Like they become careerist politicians. They try to get to the highest point and
They become
then,
advisors.
Yeah, and then they
like
fuck
David
off.
Cameron. David Cameron, trust me. I remember once, right? There was one evening, had a bit of a jolly evening, and I was on Edgware Road. Tried to find someone to take a leak. It happened to be Wait,
how is he
What?
linking this? This is
I want to hear it.
This is a David
I
Cameron
want to hear
story.
it. I want to hear it. I
Listen,
want to hear it.
listen. So I tried to say something leak, and then basically there was
David Cameron was
this is
fucking a
2 in
pig
the morning,
somewhere,
whatever, yeah. 2 in the morning, something like that, yeah. And bro, there was armed police like around this house, and then they asked me, "Look, mate, can you take a leak somewhere else?" And then I was like, gladly. Like they had like, they had like big like M15
But how
sort
do
of guns and stuff.
But you can't stop yourself mid-flow though. Like that's the worst.
Oh, trust me, if there's guns involved, trust me. You're stopping. You're stopping mid-flow and you're cutting. Listen, you are cutting. So yeah, so basically, it turns out that was basically David Cameron. David Cameron lives up behind. He lives behind Edgware Road, basically.
Crazy.
And yeah, he's got 24-hour surveillance.
I would have thought that's too gully for him though.
That's kind of hood.
Yeah.
Kind of hood.
And do you remember the show, The Bodyguard, on
Yeah,
BBC?
I haven't watched it yet, but I know what it is.
All right, cool. So it's very similar to that in the sense where like these politicians have like people who guard their house 24/7.
Personal protection
And you know, it's like the serious police here when they wear all black, they're all blacked out,
Yeah.
and their cars have their bully vans have tints so they can punch up at the back.
Yeah.
And no one can see. Yeah.
It's crazy.
That man there. Anyway,
But yeah, Johnny, how you been, man? Because we kind of. I mean, I got to ask Johnny how he's doing as well. You know what I mean? How you been, Johnny?
I've been alright, man. I've just been totally subsumed by the US election. Like
subsumed.
y'all know
that word.
Bars for you.
I mean, I've been put under by all the excitement that is the US. I think like 3 episodes in, I think the people them know that I'm basically a complete political nerd.
You?
So no, me. So a US election is basically like it's like a week-long World Cup final.
Yeah, it's been mad.
It's as good as it gets.
It's been
like,
mad.
British elections are cool and fun and whatever, but there's nothing like the drama
of
US politics.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, since you guys don't want to ask me how I've been, let's just jump into the.
Wait. Let's rewind it. Let's start again. How you been?
How you been, Rich? How you doing? You looking good on camera.
Thank you, lads.
I love your Boy Scout.
I'm just
Boy
happy.
Scout thing.
Yeah, man. This
Yellow
looks great.
6, we're out here.
Yeah, shout out Almanac bandanas. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just happy that my Wi-Fi connection has been able to withhold this Zoom call at the moment because it gets a little bit techie for me sometimes. Good to see you guys. I'm doing very, very well. I'm trying to keep my skin clean. 2 liters of water a day. Nivea moisturizer. But other than that, lads, you know what I mean? Nivea, bro.
Does that even rub in properly?
No, that Q10 shit.
I think for black skin, I feel like that doesn't rub in properly. I got to rub for time.
E45 gang, we're out here.
Yeah, it's like one stroke.
You see when you see the Nivea on the shelf, on the bottom shelf, you got to go left of the normal Nivea one. They got this one called the Q10 shit. Oh, it keeps me nice. It keeps me lathered.
Moisturized.
I swear down. It's beautiful.
E45 gang, cheap and effective.
Yeah, you're so Nigerian, Johnny.
But what do you mean, bruv?
Johnny's so Nigerian. E45.
100 all day, every day, bruv.
2020.
I used to moisturize with Vaseline. Anyone else?
Yeah, petroleum.
Crazy. Petroleum jelly on your body is mad, bro.
The big thing.
Yeah,
like, it was like a big one,
and
it was just clear, and then had that navy blue saying petroleum Vaseline.
It's mad.
Listen, how did my mum cream me in that? Yeah,
and then let us off into the real world.
But in the winter, yeah, in the winter, you be entering primary school just shining. You're just shining, bro. Listen,
it's mad.
No good chat to me, bro. People are cold, yeah, fam. I was.
I'm getting militant, cuz. Man slipping and sliding out here, bruv.
Listen, I was insulated, fam. You know them days, yeah. So we used to go to like swimming on like a Thursday in primary school.
Okay.
It's like Salmon Youth Centre. They used to have like in Bermondsey in Jamaica Road. Shout out Salmon Youth Centre.
Hey.
They used to have a swimming pool thing there. Yeah, we used to go to like swimming lessons. Bro, do you know how insulated I felt post swimming?
Swear down.
Well, you said the Vaseline lasts after swimming?
Hell
yeah,
yeah, bruv.
my mum would put the Vaseline.
For real.
That petroleum jelly was bulletproof.
My mum would put the
my
Vaseline
days.
in a food container. And then
That's gang.
put cling film around it. And that was my Vaseline. That was my packed lunch Vaseline, bro.
That's gang.
Listen, anyway.
We went through it, man.
We're going through it, man.
We can talk about moisturizing patterns another day because I am actually a little bit curious since we got a white guy on this podcast as well. Like I'm curious to talk about this because it's something that's troubled me for so many years.
The white guy on the podcast, he's E45. He's blacker than both of us, bro.
To be honest, I'm just happy to hear that this white guy actually moisturizes because I know a lot that don't.
Bro, he's E45. That is like the epitome of blackness.
Yeah.
E45, yeah, and Razak.
Certain creams are local. Certain creams are global, isn't it? E45 is multicultural.
You know the ones I hate the most?
JME had that lyric, right? Like, your content is weaker than mine. Your dry lyrics need some E45.
Yes.
But the thing is, you know what I hate the most?
Shout out
Razak. Do you remember Razak?
No.
Razak, it had like a medical smell to it. Trust me.
I never heard of that in my life.
I'm going to buy Razak for everyone to whiff.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Just won't wear it.
Like,
I won't wear it.
Listen.
If it posts that until lockoff is done, innit?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. After lockdown.
But I guess with that, thank you for asking me. In general, I'm good. I'm happy to see that you man are splendid as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, let's cut the shit. Let's just jump right into it. The world is about to fucking change.
Baruch Hashem,
yeah, for real. At point of recording, it would appear that we have all but announced Joe Biden as the 46th president of the United States of America. This Kid and Terribly did a highly political episode, episode 2, a couple of weeks ago, which I'm sure you will listen to, all of you, where we made some predictions about where this was going to go. And obviously it's between two people, so one of us in the room is bound to get it right. But we definitely went into some of the details as to where we thought this was going to win or going to be won or lost. And the one that we pinned the majority of our hopes on was Pennsylvania.
That's what's up.
And it turns out that ended up being quite a massive factor in this. What has happened since these results have started to come in, I guess many of us probably could have expected from old Donny, but Jesus Christ, the guy continually finds ways to surprise us. And that's exactly what he did, Johnny, isn't it?
That's basically what happened. I mean, if like me, you have no life and spend all of your time following US politics, then what has happened has been entirely true to form. The strategy of the Trump campaign, insofar as telling supporters not to go and vote by mail, was that they would hopefully have a large enough advantage on election day that they could do a Florida 2000 style stop the count obstructionist.
Stop the count.
Stop the count.
Why are they counting all the votes?
Every time they count votes by mail.
Yo, one of those tweets sent me. There was a tweet where he was like, how come every time they count the mail-in ballots, they are so devastating in their percentage and power of this?
Because you spent months telling people not to fucking vote by mail, you spiv, bro.
I don't know whose accent that was, Av.
Oh, okay.
But that's rich coming from you.
I don't know whose it was.
We heard you try to do Scouts episode 1. It did not work.
Yeah, what accent was that?
Let me try again. How come?
No, his voice is higher.
Who's got the best Donald Trump accent?
We're gonna build a wall.
I can't do it.
Was that
what the fuck?
Exactly. How was he throwing stones from a glass house?
We're gonna build a wall.
That was trash.
How come? And I'm doing the hand movements. How come?
You sound more like Obama.
You sound like more Obama.
No, Obama's more like...
No, you sound like Jinx.
Obama's more like, how come? How come?
Every time
Trump
they count the
is in
votes.
that White House, man. What the fuck?
Folks across the country.
Joe Biden is definitely your guy.
That was quite good. That was quite good.
Bro, I'm telling you.
That was quite good.
Virtual spud.
Virtual spud. That was quite good. But yeah.
This guy doesn't understand a simple concept. Once you count all the votes, you get the total amount, right?
Yeah.
And the total amount is kind of what decides.
Well, bro, if you told people for fucking months not to vote by mail, then you're baffed why the mail votes are going against you. Fucking idiot. Like
Crazy.
Bruv. Anyway, so the plan was get ahead enough on votes day itself with in-person ballots and in-person votes, whatever, that you could hopefully launch a legal challenge to stop subsequent votes being counted. That hasn't worked. The judicial branch of government, as it were, has stood up, done its job, and all these facetious lawsuits that have been launched have been fucking binned out the window. Like they launched one lawsuit, I think it was in Pennsylvania, which as we said was going to be the battleground, and as it's turned out has been the battleground. But one of the lawsuits they launched, they were querying over observers not being allowed to count votes, and some fucking lawyer went into the court, and the judge asked him, like, do you have any people in the room? And Trump's lawyer said something to the effect of, there's a non-zero number of observers in the room. And I was like, bruv, next time I'm on Hinge and I'm dropping bars to a bird and she asks me, like, have you ever used this line on another girl? I'm going to be like, I've used it on a non-zero number of women in the past. Like, it's fucking mad chat, bruv. It's proper mad chat. So basically, like, they've been like, our observers weren't allowed into the room, but they have. They're like, there's widespread fraud. There's so many ballots coming in from everywhere, and they're being counted after they were cast after election day, and like that's also bullshit.
Accent. That is a better accent.
That's all.
Yeah.
Accents are kind of my thing, but we'll come back to that.
Let's do it.
But they've made 100 claims and not presented a single shred of evidence. This was always the plan. I think they probably thought that the people were stupider than they have turned out to be. Governors in key states, legislatures in key states, and judicial branches in key states have not fallen for this bullshit. And Donald Trump is going to go down as an impeached one-term president in the bottom rungs of scumbags that have ever led the United States of America.
You say that, but what I actually wanted to speak about as well is Trumpism and the legacy of it, because as much as this guy is seemingly out the door, pack your shit
and fuck off.
As much as he is out the door, it is clear that this has been one of the most highly voted elections in American history, with Joe Biden receiving the highest amount of votes ever. But what is also apparent is that the amount of people that have been voting for Donald Trump since 2016 has actually grown by a significant amount. And the demographic breakdown within that as well has also changed quite significantly depending on the group. We were talking about it earlier while we were waiting for Zav to join the Zoom about the demographic change or it being unchanged amongst African-American women, but there being a significant change amongst African-American men. On episode 2 of This Can End Terribly, we spoke about why Florida would be won quite easily by the Conservatives, given its makeup of largely Latin American people. But yeah, maybe we can expand on that a little bit.
So I mean, there's a general declining trend for black men in America to vote for the Democratic Party. Kind of peaked at around 96% in 2008 with Obama, dropped to about 94% in 2012, dropped to about 92% in 2016 for Hillary Clinton. It's actually gone even further towards Donald Trump to about 90% in 2020. Black women as a proportion of the electorate, or the proportion of black women voting for Democrats over Conservatives, has remained very stable. And the one thing I want to say before we get deep into this topic, that it is kind of not only the black vote in particular that has won this election in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Atlanta, or in the state of Georgia for the Democrats, but it's actually black women in particular as a demographic, not only by their voting, but by the significant singular black women who have influenced the race. As we've discussed before, we're no particular Kamala Harris fans, but the one woman who does need all the credit in the world is Stacey Abrams, who should be the governor of Georgia, was shafted 2 years ago. Since being shafted, could have given up, retired, went on a fucking crusade and almost single-handedly, led the charge, but almost single-handedly signed up 800,000 people to vote in the state of Georgia.
Shout out.
Like, what the fuck, bruv? How much energy does it require?
Yeah, she's moving like Moses.
Oh my days,
Swear
bruv.
down.
Oh my days. Like, so big up Stacey Abrams. And it's basically black women that have come through. Black women that have come through and have saved America
Can we just give a clap
from
for
itself.
black women in America, black women globally?
Time and time again, you show us that we just don't deserve you.
That's what's up.
100%, man.
That's what's up. So I'm not trying to turn this into a fucking monologue on identity politics, but that is basically the differentiator. It has been the persistence and consistence of black women in the United States. That's what's helped get Biden over the line. Now, on the point that you made earlier about more people have voted for Trump, that's true. Despite 4 years of fucking madness, Trump's vote has gone up by 7 million people by popular vote standards. So actually, I think that Biden is the person who has had the most votes in a single election. I think Trump in 2020 might be the second. It's just that
it's wild.
The turnout increased so massively. I'm very, very clear that so many people only voted for Biden because they were voting against Trump.
Yeah.
Still think it was a bad pick. although he has won, so I kind of got to eat a bit of humble pie for that. I still think that the Democrats could have been more progressive. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because there are a number of local and state legislatures that passed resolutions in their elections to the effect of Florida, for example, voting for Trump for president, as we said, but also voting to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour, right? Other states, such as Oregon, legalized weed. There were numerous other examples of progressive policies that Biden was effectively too shook to put on his platform passing. We can get deeper into how that will affect 2022 and 2024, etc. But is Trumpism just going to disappear because he's lost this election? No.
Absolutely not.
The one thing I think is very important, the one thing that I've seen a lot of chat over the last 4 years, and even more specifically in the last week, is that Donald Trump is a symptom of America's disease of racism. I think that's bullshit. I think that's a very easy excuse. Donald Trump is really the positive test for the disease of racism. And if it weren't the case that America has had these faults for such a significant amount of time, that people were able to find themselves an agent of expression in Donald Trump, he would never have ascended to the presidency, and more significantly, he wouldn't have gained 7 million votes having been in government for 4 years.
Wild.
So when people say Trump's going to disappear or Trump's politics are going to disappear, no, he has gained in engagement. He has gained in popularity. I think we've kind of just got lucky this time that enough people have decided that enough was enough insofar as the economy has been absolutely fucking trashed by coronavirus, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that is important to me is that America has a problem that were the economy not trashed by his mishandling of coronavirus, enough people don't see his racism and nationalism as an obstruction to vote for him. And if the economy were in a good place, I think he would have won this election by a landslide. I think that speaks to America's deeper kind of racial, societal divides.
And if that pasty, seasonless, unseasoned, toupee-wearing motherfucker doesn't end up in jail after he comes out of the White House, you can guarantee he's going to be in 4 years' time.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about...
So this ain't the last.
And on that note, talking about votes, can we just discuss what your thoughts that Kanye got 50,000 votes?
I heard it was 60,000.
60,000.
I heard it was 60,000.
Do you know what? I'm actually positively surprised. I'm positively surprised. I thought more people would vote for him than that. But to me, it speaks to the seriousness that Americans took this election with, and I think that's good for democracy.
He had to write his own name into his ballot in Wyoming, which is where he has land and property, and I guess he spends part of his year living in.
I'm not sure many people in Wyoming have bought College Dropout.
So I don't know if that speaks to people's lack of understanding as to how they would potentially apply for somebody who isn't clearly on that ballot sheet, because he himself had to write his own name into it because he didn't get himself forward in some of the ballots in time. In short, Zav, man, what can I say? Celebrities with a following as huge as his, with fame on the level that he has it, was always going to achieve a certain amount of votes.
Well, can I say how messed up that is? To be honest, we've seen it already. Wasn't Donald Trump part of Dragon's Den or some shit?
He was the apprentice. He was Lord Sugar.
Can I say how flawed it is that America actually accepts placing us in the hands of people like that to potentially take seriously? For me, 50,000 people. Imagine 50,000 people in a concert, or that's a lot of people, bro.
Yeah.
If 60,000 people voted for Kanye, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Kanye fan as a creative, but that's effed up.
But he bastardized politics, same way that Trump did. And I think that's ultimately what a lot of people need to be able to access politics.
I think it's basically... go on.
Yeah, no, I not everybody's Johnny V, not everybody's you, not everybody's me when it comes to understanding the inner workings of politics, what it means in terms of policy, the structures, local politics, national politics. Some people want it on a very, very simple level. Donald Trump came in on buzzwords and vitriol, but because he didn't sound like politicians, that meant a lot for the average person who had never voted before, who felt disillusioned by politics as a whole, who don't understand political jargon. Even me, reading and listening to this stuff all the time, every single time it's the House of Commons. I'm like, what the fuck are these motherfuckers saying half of the time?
Ask Johnny.
For most people, even if it is as damaging as we're going to create a wall, all Mexicans are rapists, la da 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 da, that speaks to people, unfortunately, especially as, you know, as we said before, there are already systemic problems in the country as a whole with regards to race relations, etc.
I think there's a couple different topics there. I think the main reason that someone like Kanye or even Donald Trump in the beginning was taken seriously is because there's been a massive blurring of the lines between commercial... Well, basically news is being commercialized, and political news in particular is being commercialized. And so political commentators who speak to people's insecurities are able to generate massive advertising revenues. And then there's a self-fulfilling circle of political commentators who basically become showbiz personalities. And if you get long enough down the road where political figures are basically TV people, then it makes sense that you can reverse engineer that process and a TV person can become a political figure. And that's effectively what happened with Donald Trump. You know, he took over, again, we spoke about Buhari taking over Nigeria in a low point in the last episode. Donald Trump kind of did take over America in a low point in 2016 insofar as Obama's economy was kind of trundling along, etc., but there was a perception that the post-financial crisis policies gave a lot of cheap cash to rich people, so the wealth divide had grown. So when Donald Trump comes out and says shit like, all of your manufacturing jobs are going away to China and the Mexicans are coming and killing your people in the South, people in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania in 2016 went, oh, fuck, yeah, no, all of our industrial jobs have gone to China.
But that's a bastardization of politics, and that's a bastardization of it all, isn't it?
For sure. I mean, that's kind of that's why it's been able to happen. It's because of the influence of the media. It's because of the commercialization of political discourse. The lines have been blurred between kind of substance and showbiz. And that's how people like Donald Trump are allowed through the door. I'm just kind of relieved.
And that same Donald Trump is somebody
that he's been told to fuck off this time.
Yeah. And that same Donald Trump is the same guy that said, what? You know, I want to bring someone to the stage, you know, introducing Lil Pimp.
This guy, bro, fuck Lil Pump.
God. What a joke, man. Both of them are joke, man. I didn't even know Lil Pump was even a Trump supporter. What was that?
Yeah, he's...
But again,
I think he's from Florida, right? But I think his background is also...
He's Colombian.
He's Colombian.
This is the point I was making in the last episode.
So it actually makes sense. If you were listening to episode 2, everything that Johnny said about that specific piece in Florida actually makes sense, and it applies 100% to Lil Pimp.
And in fact, it applies. And the thing why this is so important is because it's not just like Latinos don't just exist in Florida. They exist all over the South. They exist in Louisiana. They exist in Texas. They exist in Georgia. They exist 100%. In New Mexico. They exist in Arizona. They're all over the gaff, and they're going to become
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's what's up. They're going to be a more significant part of the electorate going forward, right? And something we were discussing before is that there is somewhat of a applied homogeneity to the Black American electorate, okay? And you can agree or disagree, but the evidence is actually that still 90% of black men vote Democrat, 96% of black women vote Democrat. So we can get into the finer points of kind of contextualizing that homogeneity, but it kind of exists. Like, really, it kind of exists. The same homogeneity is applied to the Latinx vote, but doesn't account for the fact that there is a massive... Well, two things. One, doesn't count that there is a massive political spectrum within Latin America. We've got far-right governments, far-left governments, et cetera, et cetera. We have evangelical communities. We have less religious communities. All these people come from different countries, different backgrounds, et cetera, et cetera. But it also doesn't account for the fact that they actually do come from different fucking countries. Yeah. So something I was explaining before was that the Latinx diaspora in America is much more akin to the black diaspora in the United Kingdom, insofar as a lot of black Brits have been here majority 3 or 4 generations. Like, it's not often you meet a black person in the UK who's got 6 or 7 generations in this country, right? Yeah. And that's very similar to the Latinx diaspora in America. Whereas black Americans have been in the United States for hundreds and hundreds of years. That's 14, 15 generations of black Americans. So the reason there is a greater homogeneity among the black electorate in America is because they have all been in the same country. They are all American. They're all Americans. They just happen to be black, right? But the Latin diaspora come from different places. There's no way you can reconcile evangelical Puerto Ricans with Catholic Venezuelans or cosmopolitan Argentinians or atheist Colombians or what. Like, there is such a wide variety in the background and experience and culture among the Latinx population that you can't really take them as a single voting body in the same way that I think that basically gringos take black people for in America.
Gringos. So Kanye's coming back in 2024.
Yeah,
allow it, man.
He's saying that.
I reckon Joe Rogan needs to be his fucking campaign manager.
Bruv, that podcast.
Listen, that podcast, yeah.
Bruv, I listened to that podcast.
I'm not running for president. I'm walking.
That podcast. I listened to it because you man told me to listen to it, but that was basically a fucking joke thing, bruv.
He is all over the place, bruv.
It's like for me that was
God
like
complex on the last episode.
Bruv.
I just don't know how to explain it any other way. Like when you have untold wealth and you have yes men around you and you are devoid of any self-awareness or any real perspective, whether that's because of mental health issues or just because your political alliances have changed, you end up like Kanye, man. Like this guy has it in his mind somehow that he is a messiah just because at 40 or however old years old he decided that he was going to become a born again Christian. And that realliance with God, which is great, and I recommend anybody if that's that way, if they're that way inclined with religion to be born again, to do reconnect with your faith. That doesn't always and shouldn't always result in you deciding that you want to take over one of the biggest economies in the world.
Look, for me, the whole thing about that fucking Kanye podcast was that he basically set out his reasons for wanting to run for office because I have received a message from God that I should be the leader of the free world, right? And like there was a very good article I read a while back which basically says something along the lines of anyone who perceives themselves capable of running a country is probably morally and characteristically unfit to do so.
Yeah.
Because of the level of narcissism and megalomania required in order to hold that belief.
I agree.
Facts.
But for someone to actually fucking come out and like say it on a podcast and be like, yeah, no, like God says I should lead the free world. Not even just America, like I need to lead the entire fucking planet. Like this dude is not safe to run fucking much, let alone the world's biggest economy. Like the dude needs help, man. It was fucking sad listening
to me about your boy, Zav.
Listen,
because
you know what, right?
Back your boy.
I'm happy to let you claim yourself being the biggest Kanye West fan at times like this.
Back your boy.
Off you go.
No, listen, I am. Listen, like I can't lie. Kanye is probably. I'm a legacy like Kanye fan. Like,
this is where
this is the rats fleeing the shit.
I'm itching to like jump into the debate.
Listen, I'm a legacy Kanye fan from like secondary school. Like one of my older bros, Orlando, gave me his first mixtape, like way before All Falls Down and stuff. Like to big him up on that front, on the creative front. But fam, he needs to stay away from this narcissistic approach, this sort of like, what do you call it? God complex approach. And you know what? When I watch that interview, I always try and find the good, right, in the things that he says in his interviews. I always try and read between the lines. But that Joe Rogan was just a bunch of bull. Like, I tell you what, when Joe Rogan was sticking it on him in the most professional way possible and was asking him, if anything happened where, like, we escalated, things between us and China escalates, and you have to then send in the troops, like, who's making that decision? Like, how are you going to make that decision? And then he paused. Couple seconds silence. So imagine that, but times like 10 more seconds, right? That's what he did. And then he tried to like say, oh yeah, I just prayed. And then Joe Rogan was done with him. Joe Rogan reeled him back in. It's like, why did he feel like it was appropriate to pray there and then? Like right there. Either way, if he was on like a debate, whatever, like presidential debate, right? And he starts doing shit like that, I'll be honest with you, I've lost confidence in you. If we're going to like freaking Trump's talking about investing more into troops and stuff like that, right? Right, more constructive things. If you don't know what to do with that and you don't even know how to make not a simple decision, but how to make a decision that
a decisive
decision, right? Then I can't trust you, man. Like regardless, and I almost feel like what's hurtful. So I almost feel like he's running this. I think that he's running this all from a place of like self-centeredness.
Yeah, man.
And
entirely.
He gave you all the clues. He was mentioning like self-actualization. He was mentioning all of these things in that. It is basically how much can I milk out of this one life that I have? How much can I milk out of my political connects, my wealth, my monetary connects, my corporate connects? He gave us all the clues there, but you know what fucking wound me up?
Tell us.
Because I've been on a hill on my own on this whole thing about like mental health, and I think that a lot of people are taking advantage of what is like a mental health wave or a mental health generation, if you want to call that. Mm-hmm. I said last time that there is no way that we can prove or disprove that Kanye West actually has any mental health issues, that he's been given any sort of diagnosis or any sort of diagnosis, any symptoms or whatever. And everybody always looks at me weird whenever I go down this path. But there was a moment where he was banging on about the medication that he got given when he was diagnosed with whatever the fuck he was diagnosed with, and it made him fat, which is a weird thing to focus on when, you know, like that's an unfortunate side effect, but we're dealing with your mental health, so you should be happy. But the thing that pissed me off the most was when Joe Rogan asked him, because he was fascinated by this particular thing around medication. Joe Rogan kept on asking him, like, why did you take it? Why did you take it? But then Joe asked a specific question: which drugs did they have you on? And he couldn't remember.
Yeah, no,
That's cap.
He couldn't remember.
And that's cap.
He was like, he went silent, and then he was like,
True.
I'm gonna need to research that.
I need to
can't really
research
remember.
that. What,
Wait,
like, that was a weird bar to use. I need to research that.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's like, bro, this is the drug that you were taking to save your life. The drug that you were
you should know what it
prescribed
is.
over a period of time. If you
should know what
ever
the thing
needed
is.
that drug in an emergency, most people recognize or remember the drugs that they have
But
to
these
take,
times
unless
the
they're
guy-
taking loads of drugs.
But these times, earlier in the episode, the guy's talking about, like, I'm so concerned about my health. Like, I'm worried I'm going to be the next Bob Marley. He was killed in hospital. I'm worried I'm going to be the next Bruce
Oh
Lee.
my
He's
God,
going to be
that
killed in
shit-
hospital.
oh, the
Da-da-da.
Bruce Lee shit wound me up, bro.
But then you don't remember what drugs you were prescribed.
you
Like,
imagine?
if you're that paranoid
and then
about
that
waking
makes
up
me
dead in
feel like
hospital, you don't
everything
remember
that-
what they're giving to you.
He's-
Like,
listen,
it's
bruv.
mad chat, bro.
Yeah.
And then
It's mad
that
chat.
just makes me feel like everything that comes out of his mouth, and fuck it, I'll bring him into it. I want to rope him into this. And the freaking Kardashians.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like a lot of it's probably just fabricated.
Yes.
Like, I don't believe that he had problems with his missus. Yes, so.
Wait,
I definitely don't
This
think
is
he had
all
problems.
lies.
I don't think he had any problems with his missus, to be honest with
No.
you, to the point where they're bringing divorce. But I just feel like they just do. And if, right, and this is someone talking from a place of, like, I've experienced, like, mental health issues, right, in the past. If he's then capping about a lot of it, that's fucked up.
It's fucked up, but it's an easy thing to do. Like, if you can't lie about having cancer or lie about having your arm broken or your leg needing amputation. And I'm not going to sit here and say that 95%, for example, of people who say they have mental health issues are lying. They're probably not, because I think we have a mental health pandemic, which is far...
crisis.
Yeah, a crisis which is far more reaching than any fucking corona pandemic, right? But that's another issue. I do think there are people who are utilizing this wave to add a certain, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
You had a victim complex to your persona.
Absolutely. It's clout. Unfortunately, mental health has almost become as clouty as a inflammatory tweet and delete.
That's a take.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it becomes a take. But look, man, if he is going through that shit, this is all speculation on my side. I'm happy to wear the badge here and be on this hill on my own, because I think that he is gassing like a lot of people are gassing about
I'm
this
actually
stuff.
so surprised that there's that conspiracy that he only got allowed to be, like, in the ballot or in the elections because it was like Trump's way of, like I don't know how to put it, but basically using Kanye as a distraction or like a decoy or bait to make people not like the aspect of another celebrity, in a sense, in the elections, and basically skewing people, like redirecting people towards the Trump vote. But
yeah, that's interesting.
That's an angle I haven't heard before. For me, he was running because if he's Donny's boy, then he can take some of the black vote from Biden. That was the reason that he would have run. For me, I haven't heard this additional showbiz person.
I ain't vote for Kanye. I'm sorry.
But he's going to be back in 2024.
Why?
And plus, he's doing too much.
He's already said it after he tried to make light of it in the aftermath of the 60,000 or 50,000 votes that he had. He tweeted about it. 2024, he's coming. The positive thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, especially for our American listeners, is he's going to be up against some pretty shit hot Democrats. I think the Democratic Party, as it stands today in 2020, is going to be completely different in 2024. Tugging on to what Johnny said before about whether or not Biden is a right choice or a wrong choice, I think he is a sort of steadying the boat choice. We've all seen the range of talent that the Democrats have. They fucked themselves over royally in the run up to Biden actually being the man, so to speak. But they're going to get their shit in order, because the next 4 years for the Democrats, I will say, are probably going to be 4 of the most important years in Democratic history, because that nasty party are going to strategize. They're going to come back stronger. It's going to be a nicer, less inflammatory version of Donald Trump, but he's going to be just as much a savage. And if we don't want that recoil, the recoil that we got after Barack Obama, then the Dems are going to have to really, really get their shit in order quickly.
But the best thing for me is if Trump decides to run in 2024 and does like some kind of Ross Perot 1986 third party option, and he just completely bastardizes the Republican ticket and takes half the votes off the GOP, then it basically just locks in another 4 years of Democratic presidency, right? But the most important thing isn't necessarily presidency. The thing is that the Republicans still have the majority in the Senate.
Yep.
So as much as we're all happy and joyful that Biden appears to have locked off the executive branch of government, the legislative is still unsure. And it's going to come down to a double runoff in Georgia. Like, this is basically the World Cup final going to penalties. It's fucking mad that a single state is going to have a double runoff in itself, let alone the fact that a double runoff is going to define who controls the Senate. So January 5th is going to be the next vote. And you can go and check the names out on Wikipedia, check the names out on Google, check what's happened. But David Perdue versus John Ossoff wasn't settled in a head-to-head vote. And there was also a four-way fight for the other seat in the Georgia election that wasn't settled either. And so we're going to have a double fight January 5th, and we're now going to get basically unlimited coverage in the state of Georgia. I mean, I probably don't think I don't think the Dems are going to take two. They might take one, but there's a decent chance that with all the national coverage and spending that's about to come, that we may end up with a Democratic majority in the Senate. And it's kind of really only if the Dems can get a majority in the Senate that we get this progressive policy platform that we're all hoping for from a Biden administration.
Can somebody in the American press call this thing for fuck's sake so we can all get on with our lives?
Nobody wants to be sued.
Yeah, no one wants to be sued, but look, man, like, come on.
But also, can I just say that fucking hell, if Fox News, the first network to say that it's done for Biden, I'm going to need 4 to 6 minutes on my own in the bathroom, and it's going to be fucking mad. Like if CNBC...
What are you going to do, Johnny, in there?
Are we 18 plus podcast? Or?
Definitely.
I am E45 in it out, bruv. Facts. No, but
don't even cut that.
No, that's not getting cut.
That's not getting cut.
That's not getting cut.
Bruv, I'll say it again with whole chest, bruv. Like, are you mad? If Fox News are the first network to bin Trump, oh my days, bruv. I'm getting gassed. 100%.
Johnny's going to steam up his bathroom.
100.
Leave that shower running.
100. You
Get the E45 at room temperature so it's nice and...
You won't even need a shower for the steam, cuz.
No toilet roll.
No toilet roll. Just
get the shower.
It's a party, innit? Like, it's a party. Wherever it goes is where it goes.
It's hop in the shower afterwards.
That's why they invented bleach.
I swear now. But anyway, yeah, cool.
Listen, anyway, like I said, yeah, Kanye, I love you, but please just
go and
bro,
sit
chill,
down.
bro, chill,
man.
No, chill.
Go and sit down, motherfucker.
Don't try and be a jack of all trades. Handle Universal, handle Yeezy, handle Gap. Freaking take care of your family.
This is important.
Chill, bro.
What you're saying is important. Real talk, because
handle those things. Those things are on the ground.
Yeah,
innit?
man.
That's where people need you.
Kanye West has been great. Kanye West has been great at a few things: music, fashion, and footwear. Okay, he's not really all that interested in music anymore, but he still makes great footwear, and it's clearly seen as a pioneer and an important person in fashion, as you can see from the Gap deal. Focus, my friend, on where your cloth is the thickest, my friend.
Bruv, he's not even that interested in fucking politics, bruv.
He's not, and that's my point, right?
The guy just wants, basically, he's got this like bizarre fucking evangelical hard-on in uniting the world under Jesus. Like, I'm sorry, but like,
which is going to play to a lot of people who voted for Trump, by the way.
Yeah,
so
and I hear
smart,
that. Yeah, and I hear that. But like we're going to get deeper into like religion and spirituality in the context of lockdown later. But like, unfortunately, well, the first thing is that America is constitutionally a secular state. There is the freedom of expression of multiple religions. It's not a Christian country. Okay. Second thing is that unfortunately, and this goes back to the question that Joe Rogan asked him about like, what would you do if the Chinese invade? Like, unfortunately, we don't have the time for God to decide where to engage the military.
Facts.
In the case of national defense. Like, when you are in control of the world's largest army and in control of the world's largest economy, more importantly, when you're in control of people's fucking lives, as Mike Tyson says, that's big boy shit, right? We don't have the time for a fucking pretender who is acting on the whim of a message that God sent him to run the world. Like, I'm sorry, we just don't. We don't, bruv. Kanye, you're a fucking guy. You made a couple albums. I don't particularly think your shit's hot anymore. I get that a lot of people love you and buy your trainers and whatnot. But I beg you do your thing in it. Where you can make your P, cuz. But unless you actually want to engage in this politics thing, unless you want to educate yourself and learn about public policy, don't get involved, cuz. I'm not about this.
I'm really not laughing at you, but you mentioned Mike Tyson, man. As soon as anybody mentions Mike Tyson, that meme, that gif, or that video comes.
I broke my back.
My back is broken.
My back is broken.
What do you mean? Is it like vertebrae?
Spinal.
All right, listen.
He's fighting Roy Jones Jr. though. He's fighting. He's fighting soon, bro.
Him against Roy Jones Jr. I don't know what they're doing, bro.
Big boy shit.
I'll be honest with you, yeah. No cap, yeah. If I was to pick any sort of like celebrity, yeah, I would consider Mike Tyson
as
as
what?
This guy's a politician, not president. Listen, he's actually. Have you listened to his?
What are you saying?
No, Secretary of boxing or something, bro.
He's got more rationale and intelligence. Right,
his Joe Rogan podcast was lit. To be fair,
listen,
his one was
he went on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't like the
hotboxing. Mike Tyson's hotboxing fire.
So how are you gonna tell me that guy's not freaking intelligent, bro?
No, he's an intelligent guy, bro.
But he smokes mad weed and intimidates everybody. So
that's what you need. That's what you need.
So imagine him going into a meeting with Putin and Putin trying to like run off a couple bars, like a couple snide remarks.
So just stop him, man.
Yeah, bro. He'll be like, yo, Putin. Who the fuck you talking to?
No, come on, Vladimir. Why
come on.
say
Yo, this is big boy shit.
Let's go outside.
This is big boy shit. You want to talk shit? We go outside. We can fucking settle this in a minute.
You can settle this in a minute.
Italian Tyson over there.
I'll break your spinal.
Michelangelo Tysoni, bro.
No, dead serious, yeah. All jokes aside, yeah. Okay, I might have been capping about having him run for like president or politician, but Mike Tyson is actually a really intelligent and emotionally intelligent.
I love Mike Tyson. It has to be said.
Yeah, facts.
It has to be said.
Wise as fuck,
I rewatched that his sort of biography film or documentary regularly. I think he is such a tormented sweetheart, right? Like if you really understand his story and all of that stuff aside with what happened,
come up.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything that he went through really does explain where he is right now. And look, man, you can't take that many hits to the head without it having some really long lasting effects. But with him, I just see an example of somebody who is completely in ownership of the things that he has done wrong, the things that he needs to better in his life. He's been through some of the worst trauma, like the shit that happened to his daughter who died in his house and all this other stuff. He's been through it. I love Mike Tyson, but I don't want him near the office.
Facts. And same with Kanye,
from
bruv.
any office.
Same with Kanye, bruv. Sorry, bruv, but I can't.
No.
Anyway,
Kanye Farabale.
All right, let's draw a line on that shit because something close to home has happened that we want to talk about for a bit because... Yeah, there's no running away from it. We are in a lockdown again.
What you know about like half?
Everything like off.
And here we are. We want to talk about it from a slightly different angle because we weren't ready for lockdown in March, right? We didn't know what it meant.
Facts.
We didn't know how long it was going to last. People were struggling to get fucking tissue and shop for their home, so it was just pandemonium for the most part for a lot of people. Once it settled down, things got slightly better and people got used to it, but the angle that we kind of want to go through it in this perspective is just discussing like how we are personally dealing with lockdown, given that we are three men who have slightly different situations at home, how we're going to do things differently this time, how we're going to maneuver through this lockdown to preserve our mental and physical well-being. So who wants to start, man?
Between the three of us, we've got someone who lives alone, someone who lives with a flatmate, and someone who lives with a family. So I think that most people listening to this will fall into one of those three regions. I actually kind of want to start with Zav. The experience of living alone in lockdown. What did you do last time? How did you cope? And how do you think that you're better prepared for lockdown 2? What are you going to do this time?
How did I find lockdown 1? I wasn't prepared, to be honest with you. It all happened so quickly in a sense where I actually started my new job in February. I was there for a month and then we were told to work from home. And you know, like as a trader, working from home is a myth. Like
it's not really doable.
It's not really doable. And like it's never been done really before at like a grand scale. So then I had to sort of shift and work from learning new strategies, learning new people, how the portfolio managers work and stuff, to like doing that but remotely from home, whilst also trying to get used to just living, like just spending the whole day in essentially isolation. Isolation at its finest, right? And week 1, I was sort of like, yeah, I can get used to this, blasting Travis Scott, you know, while trading and stuff, just kicking it. But then you realise that, like, I've actually gone through the whole day, really, apart from like speaking to like brokers and stuff on the phone. Like, I've gone through the whole day, almost 18 hours. I'm not speaking to anyone.
Did you feel lonely?
Yes, I did feel lonely, to be honest with you. I felt lonely. I felt lonely before I realised I was lonely. You know what I mean? Like, I started like...
Do you feel like you realised too late that
No,
you were
I realised on
alone
time.
or whatever?
No, I realised on time. Once I got through, like, do you remember like things like Tiger King. Last Dance.
Man, like Joe Exotic.
I got through Tiger King, Last Dance. Through those things, you can have slight like engagements and stuff. Like we chat to people online or like just on social media and stuff, right?
Yeah, man.
But
Them shows you want to watch with people, though, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. But you know what? You know what's so mad? So after I realised all of that, that's when, to be honest with you, the birth of Xavier Arts happened. So so literally, I was thinking about ways like, and mind you, I only finished my sessions, right? Like with through like therapy and stuff, like a couple of months before then.
Okay.
Right. So like I was still in a place where like I felt like being by myself was probably one of the worst things to go on because I have nothing but me and my thoughts.
And if you don't mind, we don't need to get into it, but for a very brief top line, what were your therapy sessions for?
For mixture of things, so for depression. I found out through that as well that I had PTSD, anxiety, developed imposter syndrome. But I'm fine, ladies and gentlemen. Like I'm no, good.
For real. Like we should, like this. To be honest, like this
fine boy.
This is kind of the section of the poll we wanted to keep very real. Like I have also suffered from depression, also suffer with anxiety disorder. Yeah. Like I think the reason
I still suffer through this exhibition that's gone on. Yeah. I've realised that I still have it
for sure.
Yo, but what medication are you taking for it? Do you remember,
mate? And no, honestly, I didn't even take no like medication for it. I'm totally anti those things. I've taken antidepressants and stuff before, and they probably do worse than good, to be honest.
No, of course.
But so I take like I got a name, but it's like Stress Diva or something. It's like a I'll take a picture and we can post it up.
At least you remember it, mate.
It's called Stress Diva or something. It's like a vegan sort of plant-based a de-stressor. That's quite good for you. And ginseng, you put it under your tongue. Yeah.
I just wanted to add that like we got very deep and political in the last episode. This episode, like all three of us are we're all deep into the mental health thing. We understand that the effect of lockdown is very heavy on people's mental health. So if we even make one person feel better for this episode, we feel like we've done a job. And actually, with some of the best messages that we've got is that people have been going through hard times over the last couple of months, and they've told us that our podcast has kind of made them laugh for the first time in a while.
So 100%, man.
So this part might get quite deep, but it's on purpose, and we hope that you don't shy away from the challenge of listening to a difficult experience. But Xavi, you were saying that you basically discovered your art as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, week 2 went by. I believe it was like December. It was like March the 22nd or something like that. We're all done with the house party app and whatnot. And literally, that
was wild. That 2 weeks of a house party was wild.
All that excitement happened before, like they said, the China or the Russians were in control.
That's what scared me away. I'm not gonna lie.
But like around that period, I really thought to myself, right? I remember my therapist used to tell me, you know, you doodle quite well, and you should use this as like a catalyst. Like,
your therapist that told you that?
Yeah. So she says, why do you? No, but she said it in passing. Like she didn't even tell me like you should do this. Okay. But saying that she was basically saying that your doodles. Why do you doodle? And I was like, I doodle because I'm just expressing my moods. And to be honest with you, when I'm trading, I doodle as like my
stress reliever
/ ritual that I do before making a big decision. I'll just doodle sort of de-stress and express.
That's interesting.
And but people would always say to me, including my therapist, like, you should do something with this. Like, this is actually sick. I'm like, shut up, whatever. And then I thought to myself,
it's a bit rude, isn't it?
No, shut up. Shut up.
You should do this, Sav. It's great.
Shut up, bro.
Yeah, shut up, man. No, listen.
I had a scary Indian geezer as my therapist. I never tell him shut up. He banged me up, bro.
but then, like 2 of my boys came over. No, sorry. I picked up this canvas from under my bed I had for time. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to start something. I want to talk about the experience of your mindset and your physical and how that can change through experience, through time. And I'm going to name it New Shapes. And I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Played around with different things. Picked up a couple of paints from the shop that was open around the corner. And 2 of my boys came over. They were like, this is actually sick. Who did this? And I'm like, me. Mate, make a gram. Do something with it. Like, this is sick. And you got a good message behind that can help others. So fast forward 6 months, and like 20 plus paintings later, I found that was my mechanism. That was my way of dealing with it. And I'm saying this because for those who live alone, I feel like it's never too late to try and find your outlet. Even if your outlet is perfecting the way you scramble your eggs in the morning, and you do that day in, day out, right? You're going to see the end of this lockdown, seeing some sort of progress that you're fucking happy with.
Amen.
100%.
Like, and finding whatever it is, whether you're using it to unearth your passion, or even just sometimes I feel like there's been a lot of people talking about, okay, lockdowns happened. Loads of people have like found their talents. Loads of people like unearthed new initiatives, like even us with this podcast. But no one really talks about people who actually take time to slow down, right? While the world is slowing down, a lot of people have sped up with their passions, their thoughts, their this and that, including us. But I really want to take time for people to understand that it's okay to also slow down. People like me, for as long as people have known me since I was like 18, I've always been somebody who's on the go, always doing something. I've even taken an element of that. Fair enough, I'm using that slowdown and that downtime to paint, but at the same time, I find that I'm more stationary than I am mobile, you know, and I think that's healthier for both myself and other people in our situations. But that's basically my outlet. Big up art. That's my freaking therapy. Big up everyone that came down to the exhibition.
Hey.
There's going to be a lot more where that came from, a lot of good stuff on the way. And yeah, that's basically locked down from my bachelor's crib, and I'm going to...
So I wanted to ask from the perspective of someone living alone, did you set yourself a daily routine, or did you kind of wing it day by day? Did you set yourself goals to achieve, and were they big or small? So
it's so funny because I would say to you that I didn't set goals, but I actually did. I'm always like a goal setting type of person. But I just told myself, I wrote down the list. I had visions of all these different things I want to paint and the reasons why I want to paint them, and it all come from a deep place in my heart and my brain. And I said that I'm going to get all these done before I do an exhibition. How my day sort of went, I purposefully traded first, do my day job, and then I might think about art and like scribble down ideas, but I would actually use my evening as that's like my playtime. And that's a way for me to sort of, that's my escapism, you know? Yeah. And I thought it was important to do that because the moment I started, maybe like there might be like 1 or 2 days where if it's super dead, like in the summer, you know, it isn't trading, it's dead in the summer. Like I might paint a little bit during the day while I'm trading, but then there's nothing to look forward to in the afternoon. And I feel like having that balance, right, is important. So like, yeah, to answer your question, I did sort of have a structured routine. At the start, it was winged, but I found myself very quickly setting myself into a routine what I was happy with, and it worked for me. And yeah, go on.
And did you have dark moments on your own? And if you did, what did you do to get over them?
100%. First of all, I cried. That's the realist.
Facts.
I have some really traumatic experiences from my past that probably creep up the most when I'm alone. And
very normal.
When you're alone, I feel like when you're alone and you're somebody who finds it hard to articulate your feelings to other people. Trust me, that shit hits you like a motherfucker. 100%. But once I got over that, to be honest with you, like and through that, the birth of a lot of paintings that you've probably seen today came from that. I.e. Rio's World, Stronger Than Yesterday, George Floyd, all these things I just couldn't take from the reality that we're living in. And that's it, man. I started to get back into meditation. I probably could be a bit more consistent with that and not just use it when I need it. But yeah, you'd be surprised, man, the amount of like habits that you pick up on to deal with things. Because at the end of the day, bro, like if anything happens to me, it's just basically me in the yard. Like no one else to help me or anything like that. So I just had to sort of adapt to things. Call my mama, call my peoples, and I'm probably missing 1 or 2 more crucial things.
Yeah, like turning on your last scene on your WhatsApp, innit? So I know when the fucking...
Nah, I can't do that. I
can't do that. No, you got to do that shit, bro. I hate you motherfuckers.
It's rude.
Leave your last scene on. Everybody, just leave your last scene on, bruv. I'm not asking you to reply to me straight away.
Just let me know you got it.
Yeah, exactly. Let me know where the fuck you are at, man. Like, what the hell?
Nah, that last scene thing, yeah, is bogus, fam.
No, it's not bogus.
It's bogus.
My last scene is on. If I don't reply to you immediately, you're going to live with that.
It's for people who...
I'll get back to you soon.
It's for people who've got multiple numbers off Hinge. And they can't be revealing the goods at the same time.
All you man who are running away from your entanglement.
Listen, again, yeah. Can we say this, yeah?
Trying to detangle.
Can we say, yeah? Let's set it straight, yeah? Listen, I don't do anything. I'm incognito. Before I had this,
I hate motherfuckers who talk like this.
Listen, before I had this Have It Art thing, no one seen me on social, any platform. So even on even on WhatsApp,
a little bit of cap.
No.
Because you flirted with IG before, innit? Like,
nah, bro. On your thing,
Facebook, you had a bit of Facebook.
A little all right, Facebook. Well, come on, man. That's for aunties and uncles.
We go back, Zav.
Listen, that's our
man like Kanye
uncles.
over here.
But what I'm trying to say is, I just don't. I like to have an element of just, fam. All that last scene stuff. That's too accessible, fam.
It's not, bruv.
It's too accessible. But oh my god, trust me.
No, obviously you turn off the last scene. Turn off the last scene because that's mad. That's mad chat. I don't want people knowing when the last time I open up that.
Yeah, that's mad.
Why?
Sometimes I'm trying to answer mums. Yeah, I'm not trying to chat to you, innit? Like that's a
then don't chat to them.
That's why, but I think that's kind
we
of
kind of got to stop mollycoddling everybody. If I don't reply to you immediately, there's a reason.
That's where I leave on the blue ticks.
That might be a very good reason or a very shit reason, but god damn it, it's my reason. God damn it.
All right, look. So we've done the single bachelor, and big up yourself for speaking openly about that. I think that's powerful chat.
Thanks, man.
Rich, talk us through the experience of being a parent in lockdown, and not only being a parent but living with a partner.
Yeah, it's busy. The only thing that makes
separate
it
the two if you can, because not everyone's going to have a kid, but a lot of people will be living with their others.
Yeah. I mean, look, the reality is that I am lucky in some respects to not have to necessarily go through directly many of the things that Zav spoke about that relates to being in a house on your own with your thoughts when you're not busy, right? Because when I'm at home, I'm always busy. Do you know what I mean? I've always got something on. There's always something going on with regards to my family life. So in many respects, I can't actually ever switch off. So that comes with some of its own challenges and some of its own ills as well. But at the start of the lockdown in March, I kind of approached it with a level of positivity that I felt was necessary. I didn't know much about it. I wasn't as researched on it early doors as I then became. I became a little bit obsessed with all of the finer details around COVID-19, et cetera. But then everything kind of just went out of the window when my dad passed away 2 weeks in. So
rest in peace, uncle.
So you know what I mean? So imagine being in a situation when you've got a global pandemic, but you also just don't even really feel like you're on this planet anymore because your brain is moving at 100 miles an hour. Things have just rocked. It was just like a random random Saturday.
There's a unique numbness to losing a parent.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was a random Saturday. I was cleaning the house. I actually spoke to Zav while I was cleaning the house, and funny enough, while Zav was speaking to me on the phone, he was in Dulwich, and he saw my brother who also lives in Dulwich, and we had a sort of freeway conversation. It was just like any other day. It was great. It was sunny. It was a nice day.
Your brother was going for a walk, actually.
Yeah. My brother was going for a walk, and then everything turned upside down around 9:30 that evening when I got the call from my mum, and everything changed. I found myself fast forward. I found myself coming back to a household where, you know, my responsibilities were still as thick as ever. They were still as strong. You don't get to partition or pause the other duties that you have in your life. I only had a couple of weeks off work as well, so wasn't even necessarily in the right frame of mind to return there. But I also had to return to work after a certain bit. So it was just heavy. Everything about the lockdown period just felt heavy. I felt a physical weight on me, and a mental weight, obviously, as well. Anybody who knows me probably noticed a shift in my extracurricular productivity, if you want to call it. And extracurricular, by that I mean anything that isn't necessarily like my day job, as I've alluded to before. Like, I've always been an artist, a musical artist, but I kind of put that on the back burner a little bit as my passion in that kind of waned a little bit for various different reasons that I won't get into. But all of my creative ideas, and anybody who knows me knows that I am very, very creative, and I've got a lot of ideas. They were just coming out of me. They were coming out of me. So my only way of really maneuvering through lockdown was to embrace all of these things that were happening. I was making more music than ever. I was writing more music than ever. I came up with a concept for an amazing podcast, which you guys are listening to right now with two of my friends. And these are all things that I felt like were messages sent to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt like they had to come out. I felt like God was telling me, like, you need these things or you're going to crumble. So I embraced those things. It made me knackered, don't get me wrong, because again, family life is still there. Still got a little youth running around, like, craving attention. He's less than 2 years old at the time, innit? So it's all just a bit mad. He needs more attention, etc. Like, there was a lot on, but the way I managed it was just, honestly, it was just through perspective. I've done therapy as well. You know, I've been through traumas in my life as well. And the only way that I've really addressed that is by working through it, powering through it. And I'm absolutely convinced that's not the right way to do it, lads. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely convinced that that's not the right way to approach it, because there's a lot to be said for slowing down, as I've said. But I only found myself being able to slow down really 5 months after my dad died, when we were actually able to bury him. Yeah. You feel me? That's when I came back from Nigeria.
And I noticed a change as well.
You got the closure.
You feel me? The weight came off. The minute I landed on London soil, the weight was gone. It was gone. And I was able to genuinely pause everything for a bit and just focus on the basics.
So it's something that you mentioned specifically in what you were just saying, but I'll open the question up to Zav, because it's something I've heard from a lot of other people. Do either or both of you, man, feel like you got closer to your spirituality in lockdown?
Yes.
Yes and no.
Go on, Zav, first.
So yes, because I think there's beauty in a lot of like negative stuff that comes with isolation. But I feel like through isolation, you're in a better place to understand self. And if you understand self, then you can understand the inner you. And if you understand the inner you, then you're going to be more in tune with, I would say, like your third eye, or like your higher calling in a sense, and your higher being.
So does spirituality to you mean kind of internal knowledge or religious expression?
No, I feel like spirituality for me is more internal knowledge.
Okay.
And probably you being more in tune with your inner self, which is also a reflection of the higher being. You know what I mean? For me, spirituality is mainly to do with being in tune with nature, being in tune with yourself, being more conscious, and in a sense having that sort of understanding of the gravity of God, you know?
Okay.
I feel like that's enhanced when a lot of things that distract us are stripped away, i.e. the Ned on a Thursday, or Rocker on a Wednesday. Ooh. Or, you know what I mean? Just the busy to and from work, flicking through your phone. A lot of these things are actually stripped away from our daily routines.
For real.
We're left with things that actually are probably more relevant to our day-to-days, i.e. work, but then food, and then routine.
I feel like it's given people a sense of perspective on the material versus the material. You know, like what is materially important versus what are material goods.
Yeah, I got rid of all kinds of shit, man. I cleared out my house. I cleared out my friends lists. It sounds savage, but I cleared out a lot of dead wood in many respects in my life, and that brought a certain level of inner zen. But ultimately, I had a lot of my spirituality for most of my life has been linked to religion. Do you know what I mean? And I was questioning God like a motherfucker.
So do you feel you got closer or further away?
In some respects, I did get closer, but it's not without questioning a lot of the things that had happened. Like I kept on, you know, anybody who knows my family know that we're just like the most blessed family. Like we've always been loving, we've always been caring, we've always given the shirts off our backs to other people. And, you know, my dad was a great man. So when he dies the way he dies, even though there's a big story that we won't get into, you do start questioning a lot of things. When it happens at the start of a pandemic, you do start questioning a lot of things. When you can't get out and bury him, you do start questioning a lot of things. So at the same time, and I'm not super religious, but even as a person who has grown up in a religious household, and even if that's waned a little bit personally religiously, you do remember that you're not supposed to question a lot of things religiously, because that's not the point, right? But you can't help it. So in many respects, my spirituality was sort of the personal spirituality that I linked to keeping a zen. I was able to focus on and improve. But this part of my spirituality that is linked to religion, I was at odds with quite a bit.
Okay, interesting. Because one thing I feel like I've seen over, say, Instagram or Twitter or whatever, it feels like people are a lot more comfortable with expressing their religion, their spirituality. Like compared now to a year ago, I feel like I see a lot more people giving thanks to God, or giving thanks to a higher being, praising whatever God's existence is, etc., etc. And from the perspective of someone who's a relatively secular Jew, always been very culturally Jewish. Again, anyone who knows me knows that, like, I am basically the token Jew that most people know. Yeah. Like, do I feel like I got closer to God? Not sure, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Do I feel like I became more of a cultural Jew? Yeah, probably. Probably. And I was already very fucking brazen about like,
Yeah.
I'm Johnny the Jew. Do you know what I mean? Like that's it's always been my brand from day one. Like that's what's up. Yeah. But I think actually having like tried to contextualize it or study it, and I think this is maybe an experience that both of you guys can relate to, maybe through a different expression. But I feel like being more in touch with my cultural Judaism is an expression of isolation, wanting to cure itself with association. And I feel like if I were able to reach out to other Jews who kind of feel the same way in a culturally collegiate sense, then I feel less isolated. If I can relate to more people who are like me, if I can understand my experience and share that solitude with other people, then you feel less alone. And I don't know how I don't know, maybe as either black men or Brits or artists or whatever manifestation that feels, but to me, like my manifestation was like, yeah, I do feel I kind of like I'm down to connect with more Jews than I probably would have done before.
Yeah. I got a couple of Jewish friends I can hook you up with.
We probably know each other already.
When I had to hook you up, I mean, just to connect with, you know.
No, but I hear that. But for me, the point that I was trying to get at with this kind of like with this segment was like, everyone feels alone in lockdown, whether you live alone. Yeah. Whether you live with a flatmate, I was fortunate to live with a sound.
We got to circle back to you and how you've dealt with it, living in your living situation, having a housemate in your crib.
Yeah, man. So like, I guess I'm for the demographic of people who listen to our pod, I'm probably the most common use case. Like I live with a flatmate. Yeah. I don't have a missus or a kid.
Shout out Max.
Shout out Max. Although it wasn't Max. It wasn't Max who I was living with at the time. Shout out Ant.
Shout out Ant.
Big Ant. So I don't live with a missus, although I get that a lot of people do. And even if you do live with your missus without a kid, I guess that your example is probably closer to mine than it is to Rich's. I live with an other, right? Yeah. My example of lockdown, firstly, is worth saying, was kind of bastardized by the fact that I was able to go into work every day. Yeah. I wasn't stuck in the house.
That's mad, by the way.
Been in the office since day one.
That's crazy.
So that itself, that's kind of not a unique experience. I think the one thing that I wanted to touch on from my experience of living with a flatmate that I think a lot of other people will feel is that you often, like, first thing that's living alone, living with a flatmate, living with a family, there is a lot of isolationism with the experience of lockdown. Yeah. Even if you're locked down with other people, you do feel alone.
100%.
And you feel alone because there's only so much of someone else you can take.
Yeah.
And then you retreat. And then you feel alone, right? So however it manifests itself, like there is a lot of lonely feeling. Okay?
And there's so much Pornhub you can do as well, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I mean, by the time you've watched enough Autumn Falls videos,
oh my God.
It's done.
Shout out Autumn Falls.
Shout out Autumn Falls.
Bro. Oh, yeah.
You man are lying if you don't know. Like, if you pretend you don't know, you're just lying.
I know the thing.
Come on. I'm more of an OG Sarah J, Gianna Michaels type. Anyway, we moved on.
Move on. Big hands, big hands, big waists.
Maybe China Trump. I don't know.
No.
Oh, okay, I feel you.
That's niche still.
That's very niche. Bridget B.
Bridget B is fucking fuego.
Listen.
Virtual spuds.
Listen. Move on. The point I was trying to make is that, like, the one thing.
Pause. No pausing. We keep it going, but I'm just saying pause.
Hey, do you know what?
Say, that was the first time ever that reference or that sort of reference that area was made.
And do you know what? I'm gonna go on a bit of a lonely hype here, but shout out Pornhub for getting man and woman through isolation and through
100%.
lockdown, because like it's a healthy thing. You have to do your thing, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man, whatever.
As
long as it's wholesome. As long as it's wholesome pornography.
Boris is telling you can't link your thing from down the corner. You have to. You have to get yours.
But anyway.
Firstly, so we're going to come on with coping mechanisms of lockdown later, but Pornhub's definitely one of them. We've just basically jumped the gun on that one. But the one thing I wanted to say was, like, living with someone else, like, it can be tough because, you know, when you live on your own, you've kind of internalized the concept of being alone for a period of time. I lived alone before I got a flatmate. I was very happy to do so. I enjoyed that period of my life, but that's the kind of conscious decision you take. You don't expect to have emotional support from other people close. You may reach out to people from a distance. It's not the same, but you've already kind of prepared yourself for that experience. If you live with a family and you've got a kid, specifically in the example where you've got a kid, you know, there is a uniting cause for you and the person that you live with to stay with each other and to support each other, because there is a more important being in the household than either of you. if you live with a significant other, then you kind of hope that between the two of you, you offer enough each other enough emotional support that you can get the pair of you, because you're meant to be a pair of you in a relationship, you can get the pair of you through lockdown. Where people who live with someone else who isn't their partner often struggle is they don't want to burden their flatmate with their own emotional needs.
Yeah.
And that kind of exacerbates the sense of loneliness that people who live with other people, and say even if you live in a house with 2, 3, 4, 5 other people, like you're not fucking any of them. And so there is no like romantic association or deep emotional association. Now, if you happen
so you and Max don't snuggle?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not like
you should.
No.
More.
Well, do you know what I will say? Big
Snuggle
up Max, because Max is my fucking OG from times we were 3 years old, right? I wasn't living with Max at the time. I was living with Ant, who is my boy. Boy met each other in a spare room, kind of thing. Which is again a common experience. A lot of people listening to this would have met their flatmates in a spare room, right? But that's very different to living with like your OG code D. 100%. Do you know what I mean? So like you can't really burden someone that you've met off spare room with your emotional issues. Like Max is my boy, and if Max had a problem, I would expect and I'd hope that he would want to chat to me about it.
Yeah, of course.
And one thing I wouldn't say like this is where we kind of get a bit gender specific. Man, them don't chat about their problems enough to other men.
Facts.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this one like full open. It's gonna be quite uncomfortable for people to listen to. My old man killed himself. Male mental health is a real deal in my life.
Peace.
Right? So I'm all about men specifically expressing their emotions to other men, because if you don't, you end up like my old man did, basically. Yeah. Right? So Max and my Cody, I reckon he would chat to me if he's got a problem. I would chat to him if I've got a problem. But that's a very different experience to like, I'm very fortunate to live with one of my best mates. Most people don't. I think a lot of people who live with a flatmate maybe struggled the last time because they didn't want to burden their flatmates with the problems that they were dealing with. Yeah. And that forces them to further internalize them. And that's not necessarily a healthy way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
So my experience, like I said, I was very fortunate to be able to go out to work and go to the office every day. I was in a cab, seeing the outside, etc., etc. But it was very common in that I was living kind of not with a stranger at the time, but basically with a stranger because I didn't know the geezer at the time, right? What do you do? I mean, like, I think that if you live with strangers, it's worth having a conversation, especially if you live in a house of multiple people. Maybe you take 1 or 2 people who you do get along with on the side and you say, look, we're all in the trenches here.
Yeah.
We're all struggling here.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be easy for everyone. Can we come to some kind of terms or agreement that on a base level, like we go through lockdown together? And I think that that's not unreasonable, that if you live with someone in your house, like even from a purely Nietzsche nihilist selfish perspective, like if I'm living with someone, I don't want them losing their shit. Yeah. That's not good for me if I'm living with someone who loses their shit. So like, I think people should hopefully, like if anyone takes anything from this podcast, like normalize expressing your difficulties to other people. Normalize expressing angst. Normalize expressing depression. There is a difference between burdening other people with your difficulties and expressing your own problems. Yeah. And I think that actually a lot of people, more people than you think, are willing to talk about mental health. More people are willing to talk about difficult circumstances than you realize because more people than you realize have been through instances of mental health.
Well, that's a fact.
Than you realize.
Facts.
So what are you going to do, man? What are going to be your top 3 things?
So look, I think everyone went through the whole like, I'm gonna learn a language and I'm gonna get peng and I'm gonna go gym and I'm gonna fucking learn like how to code.
Do you want to know what my next door neighbours did?
What?
Like I walked past their because I live on the ground level, as you guys can remember. They put a pole in the middle of their living room.
Well, like stripper pole.
Stripper pole.
Gag.
Real.
Just a stripper pole.
Gang.
I didn't even know you could get one of them things in these motherfuckers.
Gang.
Because our front rooms are pretty much the same. They put a stripper pole right in the middle.
Gang.
That's wavy.
So I'm adding that to my list.
But we've all got our different expressions. We've all got our different... Zavi,
if you want to work the pole and like have an OnlyFans fan, we spoke about it.
Would you subscribe to my OnlyFans?
Yo.
Only if you're on the pole. I don't want to hear you rap.
We can make it happen.
We've heard enough of you rapping.
Come see my core in about 2 months.
We've heard enough of you rapping. We want to see you on the pole.
I'm going to rap on the pole.
Listen, Listen, we did that, yeah. I'll sign up to it, yeah, but just to like make memes out of you. To be honest with you.
Who needs enemies, ladies and gentlemen?
But
you got friends like these.
Let me make a point. I think the one thing that is important to do in lockdown 2.0 that I learned at least from 1.0 is that it is important to find an outlet for your energies. The problem with being locked up is that you can't go out on a fucking Friday and let off all of your steam that you've had built up during the week. Yeah. You can't get out on a Saturday and get away from your missus or from fucking whatever. Like, you can't, like, there's only so many times you can rub out on Pornhub before it starts getting jarring, innit? Like, there is a massive problem with being cooped up, that your energies aren't able to express themselves. It's important that you find an outlet to get rid of it. So Xavi found his way. Like, we're not all as fucking talented as Xavi. We don't all end up with a fucking exhibition at the Oxo Tower. But Xavi found his art, right? And that was his outlet. Me, I was extremely fortunate, having been a lifelong politics nerd, that we went into lockdown in March, which was 8 months away from a US election, and 8 months in the landscape of US elections is fucking time. So I expressed my energy through politics, studying politics, writing. I did a lot of writing in the summer. Some of you may have seen the blog in the summer.
Thinking out left.
I did a lot of writing. That was how I expressed my energy. I became politically engaged. Yeah. Rich has spoken about how he engaged his business. He wrote in music. And the one thing I want to say is that we all said that we were going to learn language and we were all going to get fit. And we all set these fucking grand designs. And actually what has happened is that a lot of people didn't meet the grand designs that they set out. And that is a reinforcer of depression, because if you're already depressed and feeling down going into lockdown, you set yourself a set of goals and you don't achieve them, that just reinforces your negative self-belief. Don't do that this time. I beg. If you want, I didn't set daily goals like Xavi did. There's two different ways of dealing with this. Xavi set himself daily goals, and they were stuff that were very achievable. He set those targets. He met them every single day. I didn't do that. What I did do was I said, I want to become more educated about something. Right? So rather than saying, I'm going to go learn a fucking language, and if I can't speak it after 2 months, then I'm going to be pissed at myself, I said, you know what? I want to learn more about Senate level races in these key swing states in the United States. You can go.
That's so Johnny.
That's so
I know what I want to learn.
Listen. It's come up trumps in the last couple of episodes.
100%.
Right? But that was something I wanted to do. Like, I love politics.
Facts.
I love reading about politics. I wanted to go.
Exactly.
I wanted to go engage in something that I
100%.
enjoy. And actually, like, people who said to themselves, I'm going to get fit by working out at home, or I'm going to learn language. Like, they didn't really want to do it. Like, they wouldn't have been trying to fucking learn Spanish if they weren't in lockdown. Like, why would you force yourself into something in a stressful situation? Set yourself a goal that is not only achievable, but is kind of enjoyable as well, because lockdown's shit and you need to find a way to have fun.
Can I just end this by saying, can I just tell you what my next goal is? Right? My next lockdown mission.
Are you going to run for president?
No. Even better. I'm actually going to be, again, something I have under my bed that I'm going to take out and actually use as to sort of explore my talent.
Is it Pornhub?
No, it's even better than that. It's DJ decks.
Okay.
Interesting you say that, bro.
So I actually want to...
Which ones have you got, by the way? Because I was thinking about doing it too.
I've got the name of it. It's Pro.
So you got the CD ones or the actual vinyl ones?
Not the vinyl ones. The ones that you basically get a hard drive and you.
It's like a Serato with the type thing.
One of my best friends, Rochelle. Big up Rochelle.
Shout out. Don't know you, but
she hit me up.
Zav does. So shout out.
Rochelle Castillo, my G. She
government names. This guy loves using government names, bro.
Government names are mad, bro.
Alright, cool. I don't care. Anyway, shit no harm. I'm basically gonna be. She gave me decks like a while ago, and I sent DJ decks. Come on, man.
She gave them to you.
Yeah.
He's got some good friends, bro.
I need friends like Xavi's got, bro.
I barely get a birthday text, mate.
I don't even get a look.
I think it's about time for me to explore those ways. Imagine in my next exhibition, and then I do the set as well.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit pissed off you didn't let me DJ your thing, but we'll talk about that.
Listen,
I'm pissed you didn't let me sing.
Listen, you guys could have done
So you want to be the artist at your own exhibition and DJ? God complex over here.
No, not even. It's just fun,
What's
man.
next? PM.
Multidisciplinary man, bro.
Think about it. I do music Mondays, right?
Guys.
I do music Mondays for a reason. And that's eventually to do something with it.
I hate when other people are talented and successful. Do you know what I mean?
Johnny, please. You're like one of the most talented people I know. So shut up.
Look at this, bro, man. But anyway, take it slowly. I guess is the message. Know yourself in this as well. I think that's super, super important. Like, there's no point setting unrealistic goals for yourself. Every goal or every objective has to be broken down. Set yourself some milestones over a period of time.
Amen.
And address those as realistically as you can.
Amen.
It's fine to stretch out your deadline date, so to speak, for some of these targets. As long as you are honest with yourself and you are disciplined with yourself, you can ride out what is hopefully only going to be 1 more month of this fuckery, even though I believe we'll probably save Christmas but be back in a similar situation in the new year. But we won't get into that now. But yeah, man, good fucking talk, lads. I like that. Can I just
add one thing on the end?
Uh-oh.
I'm just going to add one thing on the end. If you're like, I think we can all three of us agree that everyone struggled during the last time. It's very likely that everyone struggles again.
I lost bear weight as well
during the next one. Okay.
Yeah, we need to get some Dixies, bro.
So if you're listening to this, it's very relatable. If you're having a hard time, we've had a hard time. Everyone you know has had a hard time. Okay. If you feel like you need to express yourself and you know me, chat to me. If you know Rich, chat to Rich. If you know Zav, chat to Zav. And if your friend has forwarded you on to this podcast, chat to them. And if they won't chat to you, then come chat to us directly, all three of us. I think the most important thing is something that I actually made an explicit point of was I reached out to people I haven't chatted to in time.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I did in the last lockdown, because it's and part of living with someone who you don't want to burden with your emotional energy is that you reach out to lots of other different people, and it's extremely important that you reach out to as many people. If you're all right or you're kind of wavering, it's fine to reach out to other people. If you are down in the trenches, it's fine to reach out to other people. There's that old school fucking Twitter, Instagram, Facebook meme, like, I would rather hear your problems than attend your funeral. As someone who lost their father to suicide, fucking facts, bruv. I'd rather
100%.
have a chat to you before it gets to that level. So I don't want to really get that deep, but like,
100%.
I think we need to normalize having chats with our pals. Like, if your boy had broken his leg, you would be like, oh, fucking hell, bruv, how'd you do that?
100%.
If your boy broke his arm, you'd be like, fucking hell, how'd you do that?
100%.
And if I was in pain, like, I'd come up to you, man, I said to you, oh, fucking, I've torn my hamstring, bruv, I'm having a bit of a hard time with it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why are we happy to talk about our physical ailments, but we're not happy to talk about our mental ones? Like, we need to normalize men and women, but I feel like women are kind of better. Women are a lot more intelligent, a lot smarter, further down this road of chatting about their problems with other people. Men, them, chat to your boys about your problems, please. And if they won't chat to you, chat to me, chat to Zavi, chat to Rich. We're all hearing it.
Yeah, man. I ain't cried on the phone to Johnny yet, but me and Zavi definitely share some teary moments on phone calls when shit has got a bit too tough, man. Yeah, you need it, man.
Facts.
But anyway, one of the unfortunate but lucky positive outcomes of when this lockdown came into place was that there were people on the streets, particularly in Mitcham, who were able to rescue somebody from a very, very awful, potentially awful situation.
Boy.
And what I mean by that is anybody who was paying attention to some of the more local news, because this didn't necessarily hit national news, not quite sure why, might have stumbled onto a story of a monster who, I don't think we should give him the courtesy of mentioning his name.
But fuck this guy, I know it, isn't it?
We know who it is. A lad who abducted a young girl.
Don't call him call him a waste man, innit?
An absolute prick who abducted a young girl on her way to school in Mitcham, and then proceeded to trying to lure her into a corner to sexually assault her. Quick summary of the story. Another classmate of this girl said that she saw somebody that she knew from the school being led away by a man who she didn't recognize, and that man was covering her schoolmate or classmate's mouth. It looked suspect. So this amazing 11-year-old girl called her sister on the mobile immediately and reported what she had just seen. Older sister, big up Ashanti Fagan.
Big up.
I have to say her name again. Big up Ashanti Fagan, who with her mother decided to get dressed immediately and get out onto the streets in the early hours to try and find this girl who had been abducted. And sure enough, she was able to follow the breadcrumbs and found this monster with this young girl in a corner. What's unclear to me is whether or not he had already assaulted her. What is clear is that he was absolutely going to if he hadn't already. And when he was confronted, he immediately lied and said, I know this person is a part of my family. It is just through pure tenacity and pure bravery. Let's call bravery that Ashanti decided to put her fear to the side, because that's a very fucking scary situation.
It's a difficult situation to find yourself in.
It's fucking petrifying.
Big geezer has confronted him.
Big geezer, who just through sheer audacity of what he's doing before your eyes, you know, it'd be absolutely acceptable if you thought that this person had a knife or something that could do you harm. And she followed that person, was continually putting it on him to the point where he decided to depart from the scene. And then it emerged that he obviously, in fact, wasn't related to the girl, and the girl was petrified, and he had asked her to perform a sexual act on him. The reason why lockdown not being in place by that point is such a blessing, because it was only a few days off, or I think even a couple of days off, maybe even a day, is because this Ashanti Fagan put this on social media immediately, and social media did what it did. Did what it did positively, I should say.
Oh boy, did it.
And this snowballed dramatically and quickly across every one of your sort of cultural social media pages, the Shade Borough, UK Gossip TV. It I think even hit the Shade Room in the US as well, which I think is obviously part of the same tree as Shade Borough. And within hours, or within an hour, they had the guy's name, they had the guy's face, they had the guy's address.
God, man, them were in the yard, bruv.
Yeah.
Were they?
Man, them strolled up to Mumsy's yard, bruv.
And that's when it became a matter of the streets potentially getting to him before the police did.
Boy.
Which, I'm not going to lie, lads, I was really, really hoping for.
But and do you know what?
Yeah,
it's a difficult one, because like, obviously, like,
before you crack on, this then resulted in the police staying outside of this monster's house for a couple of hours and releasing a statement for this person to hand themselves in, even though they were sure who it was and sure where he lived. And sure enough, this guy was arrested and is being held on sexual assault and kidnapping charges. I was gutted
that the streets didn't get him before.
I clearly want the justice to do what the justice system is supposed to do.
Yeah.
But God almighty, I'll be honest, I can't help but feel a little bit of sadness that this guy wasn't at least sparkoed before the police got to him.
But do you know what it is? It's like, obviously, you try and fucking rationalise, like, the rule of law and order and justice and whatever, but like, once you've seen the story all day on Twitter and Instagram, whatever, like, if you hear that the man them have got him before the feds have got him, like, you wouldn't be like, fucking what a travesty of justice that is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, would you have been upset if the man them had got him first? Like, probably not.
No.
And like, this is where it comes down to like the realist real from like all of us man come from similar background. Like, we all come from the hood. We all know enough man that been bin. We know how this works. And like, my man is not going to get thrown on wing with other man who are going to bang him up. Like, if you go to jail for certain things, you have to show your papers to other man inside. And if you've got bookie papers and you get beat up inside, innit? But where nonces get sent to is like a special wing with other nonces. Yeah. And so these man get a little protection inside. Yeah. So these times he's not gonna get banged up. Yeah. Like he would have been ready to do up a little girl, and if the streets had got to him, he would have had to deal with his justice. You know what I'm saying? But these times he's gonna get put in a cell. Yeah. He's gonna get protected with fucking Pete from Stevenage. Yeah. And he's not gonna have to actually face justice. Like, what is a couple 2 years in prison? Because my man's not going to do life, innit?
He's not going to do life.
My man's not going to do life, innit? So everyone who's saying like,
he better do life.
Chances
he's not going to do life,
he's
bro.
probably going to get a sort of lighter sentence than
he's not going to do life,
certain weed charges.
Why? Because he gave himself in. No, fuck that, man. He's going to be there forever.
He's not going to be alive.
Chances are he probably won't.
He's not going to be there for life. Facts. He's not being there for life. So if you was like, okay, like
at least a young 15 years minimum.
I don't even think so, bruv. I don't even think so. Like, this is where like you have to. You like, oh fuck, you end up in a problem with your morality against your politics, because like we're all from the hood, and even if you're not from the hood, like just as a normal person, like, okay, politics aside, fucking hell, you wish the mandem had got to this before the feds done, innit? Yeah, basically, innit?
Just a few thumps to the chin, and like maybe like a nice elbow to the jaw. Repetitive kicks. But this is the thing that I've seen.
This is the thing I've seen from some people, even people from the hood, who have been saying like, look, you would rather this guy go to prison because then he has to live the rest of his life in jail and then he can die. But that's on the presumption he's going to get a life sentence. The geezer's not going to get a life sentence. This guy's
not.
going to be back out on road in 5 years. He's going to be a nonce again.
He might as well be dead to us because we have like our charge on his name and that. He ain't getting no job.
Yeah,
he ain't going to get no job in it. But
and no one's putting him on.
I would hazard a guess that his employment situation pre this thing probably wasn't too glowing anyway.
But there's videos of him trying to recruit youngers to shop food in Tooting and Mitcham and them ends anyway, bruv.
Really?
Yeah, bruv. The
plot thickens.
There's like the guy is basically, it's kind of fucked because he's on road, but he's also a nonce, bruv. Like, how did the streets not deal with this guy before he actually ended up walking off with a young girl? Like, it's kind of mad, bruv.
Crazy.
It's kind of mad.
I tried to message Ashanti to see if she'd speak to us or give a statement. She's handled this with just like a different level of class and grace. Instagram were taking down all of the posts that she posted related to it. She just kept on reposting. The message was out there. She's got a special place reserved in the heavens for what she did for this young girl. And I really, truly, truly pray that this young girl isn't scarred by this for the rest of her life.
Amen.
I hope that she is able to get the help that she deserves and the help that she is definitely going to need. It's a tough one for all of the parents out there, parents who typically work in jobs that don't give them the flexibility that allows them to make sure that their kids get to school perfectly without any issues. There are more and more stories that you're hearing about this stuff, and it makes for very, very unsettling news and scary, scary times for parents. Community is the message here. We need to know who's in our community. We need to know who the nonces are. We need to know who the deviants are. We need to know who the murderers and all of the gang members are. Not because they are necessarily going to directly harm you. We just need to know who they are. We need to know what they look like so that if you are in a situation where these people are endangering you, we can get to the bottom of these things and solve these things quicker. The reason why this thing was solved and the reason why this thing didn't turn so badly is because of the speed at which this was turned around. And that is the speed that is only allowed when you have people who are utilizing everything they know about their community in a swift way, or an amazing 11-year-old who is just so smart beyond her years that she recognized that this isn't somebody that she's used to in her community. So she called her sister so that they could do what they needed to do immediately. So, yeah, I mean, I've not got much else to say. That just everybody, please, please, please do what you can to stay safe. Keep your eyes and your ears open. There are some awful, awful people who aren't protecting. I mean, if our kids aren't safe, then I don't know what I'll go out for these streets, but
boy, I don't know. Next time maybe the streets find him before the folks do. Then it takes all the fucking moral chat.
Yeah, maybe we should wrap it up there. That motherfucker, I swear down. I hope somebody. Yeah, let me not. Yes,
this one's almost too fucking emotional to put on the chat, to put on the pod, brother. I'm fucking pissed, bro.
It's annoying. Anyway, let's move on from that. There's been some new music dropping in the world.
It's been a deluge of albums.
So many albums in the last couple of weeks.
Albums, bruv.
Where do we want to start, man?
You know what? Out of all the albums I listened to, Giggs' album was mediocre.
Oh,
He's just jumping in.
I feel
you're
like
talking the hardest, bruv.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes album was good, but not for me.
Wait, hold on. Giggs out of 10, Busta Rhymes out of 10.
Giggs out of 10.
Wait, can we break these down? So Giggs
mediocre.
Come out of obscurity. I think it's been a couple of years since he released his last album. The new album is called Now or Never, which follows his 2017 effort, Warm to Them. Zab, you gave it a 7 out of 10?
No, I'll give it a 6.5.
You gave it a 6.5 out of 10?
I give it a 7.
You give it a 7?
I like the Emily Sandé tune at the end. That's hard.
That's the thing. I think I like it more for the features than for Giggs.
I'm a big fan of the features more so than this. Like,
shout out Dave, as I said in the last episode.
Yeah, it's always a special moment for me when Giggs releases an album. However,
I was let down.
Yeah, I do feel like
I was let down.
I do feel like Giggs is now at a place where he knows his sound, he knows his audience. I don't know if he is all that interested in growing that audience or developing that sound, but is super happy continually giving us the content that we crave because he knows we're gonna love it. The high point on this album for me is Straight Murder. He calls it Giggs and David, but like
that was a weird one.
Him and Dave's verse on that.
Dave goes fucking.
The thing is, that reminds me of Peligro as well.
My God.
The way Dave murdered Peligro, yeah. Is that you say Peligro? Yeah, it was freaking fire.
Peligro.
Yeah.
Was it?
Peligro, there
you go. I think I agree with you. Busta Rhymes' album, I think there's probably like a couple of tunes I like on that. I think it's a good album, but I don't know, I've never really been a Busta person. But it's a good album. I'll give that one like an 8 out of 10.
Baby, if you give it
Hold
to me,
the phone.
I'll give it to you.
Joe Biden beats Donald Trump to win U.S. election. Officially announced. 284, motherfucker. Pack yo shit, Donald.
Just get out of here, man.
Chupa tu madre, hijo de puta naranja.
Please, just leave. Just go.
Just leave the house.
Go away now.
Go and leave the house.
Go away now.
The White House is no longer yours.
If I slap you.
If I should slap.
If I should
No,
slap.
but for real.
If I scrim.
We don't need to get into all that. Results just come in. Big up. He's tweeted that he won this election by a lot, but whatever.
He can suck himself.
You see, yeah, gigs. Decent. Check it out. Also coming out this week was, speaking of road rap, that just so glorious on the ear.
Rescue.
I wasn't actually going to get onto him.
Oh.
Yet. I was going to get onto Mr. Dutchavelli, who
I
released...
feel we got to do the OG before we get to the new man first.
I was on road rap. I was segueing. I mean,
What, is Dizzee not road?
not anymore.
That's
You
my
guys
chat.
consider DBE as road? Because their album,
D-Block Europe.
their new album is freaking fire.
Okay.
I don't really fuck with them. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
I don't really like
their new
D-Block
album
Europe.
is freaking fire.
I just don't
fuck
really like
with
the
them.
sound.
State your
Heavy.
case. State your case, G.
But before we do that, Dutchavelli, very, very quickly, he released his album, Dutch from the Fifth, came out last night.
Shout out Clapton. Shout out
it's
E5.
fire.
Come on.
It's quick, and I like shorter albums of this ilk because the drill sound is fairly repetitive, generally speaking. So at the very, very least, you want the albums to be quite snappy and you want them to be quite concise. And this is definitely that. Dutchavelli is like my favorite gangster rapper in the world right
Did
now.
I not say this in the last episode?
He
I
is.
I said Dutch was next up.
He's next up. Heady one for me was the number one driller guy before, but I think that changes today. Heady's making a different type of music right now anyway, and Dutch is very much in this world. So I think he is the poster child for now. So check out his album.
I've been
Dutch
telling
from the
people
Fifth.
from years, when you're from Clapton, you're different, innit? It is what it is, cuz. When you come from Clapton, you're different to other
There
men,
you
bro.
go.
We're blessed. We're blessed, innit?
Staying in East London, as Johnny just mentioned, Dizzee Rascal, E3 as fuck, or
Jeez.
E3AF,
Man
as he
used to
labeled
sleep
it.
as Dizzee.
Dropped an album, another quite concise, quite short album. Johnny,
Dizzee.
what were your thoughts?
I didn't feel it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it.
Bruv, I'm not gonna lie, I loved everything old school Dizzee put out, right? All the old school bangers, Boy in the Corner,
Same ditto, yeah.
Don't need to go through it because you all know what the deal is. He was the fucking king, bruv. And he was, as we were speaking about earlier, he was maybe ahead of his time. Dizzee come out with a sound that nobody else really had to commercial success. Them times there.
You know
Dizzee
what?
was the fucking king, bruv. Bowl E3, I just feel like, for me, Dizzy's basically put out the same album that he would have put out 15 years ago. The music hasn't really gone anywhere.
Yeah.
These times, it's another album. It's another album where the features have outdone him, right?
That's not cool.
Gets went fucking ham.
Yeah, but Gets
Kano
Kano
Gets
went
Kano.
fucking
That's
ham.
the thing. And
Frisco
bro,
went fucking
I was just
ham,
about to say
bruv.
that,
That
bro.
whole, all the features in the album were fucking mad. But I feel like grime, like even that kind of like original grime has grown up. Grime has moved on. Grime has evolved as a genre. And okay, Dizzee had one or two choices to make. Like either he could try and become a new grime or a modern grime kind of artist, or he could have been like, no, I'm the OG. I'm the fucking king. I'm making an OG grime album, and whether or not it matches modern standards, I'm Dizzee. This is my standard. You have to listen to it, right?
Yeah.
But he kind of like did both and did neither.
Yeah.
It was like modern grime bars about putting birds over the table with kind of like off-tempo grime beats. And they're off-tempo because he's trying to match new style grime bars to them.
Yeah.
Like, as we were saying earlier, like musicians, I think, as artists, need to mature with their art, right? And Dizzee by now is at a point where he is, like I said, he's OG. He is the king. He is Bo E3's king of grime. Like, if you're from East, like, he's got enough rep where he could have made an OG album. He could have been like, I'm Dizzee, I'm old school,
You
I'm
say
the
this,
king,
yeah?
listen to this.
You say this, right? He's got enough rep, yeah? But, like, you know how many generations have come through since, like, Dizzee held that title?
Yeah,
Bro,
we were talking about it before when you were still trying to join.
So it's quite difficult for him to I mean, you're saying he should come up with an OG album, but I feel like even to the generations that have come since, I'm talking about from an audience perspective, it's gonna be like, who's this old man?
But that's
But
exactly
I do think the point is that like Dizzee was so ahead of his time when he first came out that he was on his own, and
yeah, I agree.
And he stood out, and even though he made 2, I believe, classics, the first one absolutely a classic, the second one, for my opinion, a classic as well. He still wasn't in good company. The scene hadn't caught up with him yet, so he still was an anomaly, and he still found himself like next to the likes of the Arctic Monkeys and the Katie Nashes and the new Adele and all this other stuff whenever he went to these award shows. It wasn't a scene as such then. And then we went through that awkward UK rap period where everybody was trying to make like pop songs with Dappy and like, you know what I mean, to get to number one, and they were making tunes with like with the David Guetta sound to get to number one, and then it all disappeared when, again, the charts decided they wanted Ed Sheeran or they wanted like James Morrison or whatever. We now have a scene. And I feel like Dizzee is super disconnected from that scene. He doesn't collaborate with the people that he really should be. He isn't necessarily making the kind of music that sounds of the time. His sound is still quite dated right now.
But this is the point that I want to make. Was Evie says like, if Dizzee come out and made Boy in the Corner again, people would ask, who the fuck is this guy? All the people that was there for Boy in the Corner would know who the fuck he is, bruv. Why are you trying to make music for 20-year-olds, bruv?
I'll put it to you that if he were to bring out another Boy in the Corner today, it'd be the most amazing album that's come out of rap today.
Facts.
So
why try? But don't try and modernize yourself to this 20-year-old sound, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old rapper sound.
I haven't listened to the album. Is he trying to cater to that?
Dizzee led the way, bruv. He needs to do Dizzee. He doesn't need to do Dutch. He needs to do Dizzee.
For me, when Dizzy's making a song like "Make the Body Move," when he does a remix of that, I think he's going for a check in it.
He's done that, yeah.
Yeah, he's just going for a check in it. It is what it is, and like that's fine, man. Like Dizzee has his market; he's gonna make certain amount of streams.
But he's done it before, like Money Talks, Dirty Cash. That was a banger.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of it. I think all of the UK rappers do that. They all find an old school thing to just sample, and it's an easy money grab. But at the end of the day, you can do it very well, and you can do it quite badly. And I think that sometimes when Dizzee does that, it sounds quite bad. Yeah. But look, he's a legend. Do you know what I mean? So
the king,
I'm not expecting him to make another Boy in the Corner Showtime. I'm not. So it is what it is.
Can I just tell you,
it's not a bad album. We got to say that. It's definitely
bad.
Check it.
I give it 6 out of 10.
Can I just say, WizKid's album is fantastic. Like,
still haven't listened to it.
Listen,
Damn it.
It's like such a mellow, chilled vibe. Like it's like a new school for me. It gives me like new school fella vibes. To be honest with you, and one of the main songs you check on there is just him and Damon Marley. Blessed. Okay. And No Stress as well. Banger.
Who was the other geezer whose album you told me? I listened to that.
Oh, so a guy called Reason. Yeah, so Reason. Reason.
That was dope.
New Beginnings. He is a rapper. He's an LA rapper. He is on the most amazing record label out there, TDE, home of Kendrick Lamar, home of Schoolboy Q, home of Sir, home of Absol, home of SZA. And Reason is another amazing addition to that roster. He had an album before which got re-released through TDE, and now this is his first fully fledged proper new album under TDE. It's called New Beginnings. He is a super talent.
I liked it. I fuck with that, bro.
Super talent.
I like that.
He touches a lot of really, really good topics. Amazing project. It's called New Beginnings. His name is Reason. I think it's a terrible rap name. Reason.
There's no Z's or no nothing.
Just like Reason.
Reason.
That's his TED Talk.
Yeah, it's just called Reason.
My name's Reason.
New Beginning.
I liked it, man. I liked it. I
check
thought there was raw bars in there still.
Saweetie had a new song out called...
So I'm not entirely sure who Saweetie is.
Throw him to the streets.
Is this the one?
Saweetie is the very delectable other half of Quavo Huncho.
So is this where he slid into her DMs like I'm so icy or some shit?
Yeah,
I seen that.
Yeah.
Is that her?
Oh, is that her? Yeah.
Okay.
And then he put like I saw the
I think it was like a stir fry, I think, or whatever it was. Yeah.
I'm so icy, satin.
And we're gonna finish on this because I think this is quite funny to finish on.
That.
She put out a little video partying with her other half, Mr. Quavius.
Oh, she's single now?
No, she's with him.
Fuck. I was in.
Were you? Well, she basically said something along the lines of, if your man isn't paying all of your bills and isn't buying you a Birkin bag, you need to throw that motherfather back to the streets. And I wanted to talk about that because Birkin bags ain't cheap, bruv. And
how much does a Birkin bag
bags
cost?
are like 25 G's.
What?
And unless you know somebody, right? Unless you know somebody,
25 rack.
Yeah, 100%. And unless you know somebody at Hermes who can like slide you like a little something, you have to like actually be on a waiting list to have that.
What the fuck?
To get one of those.
25 rack for a bag.
Yeah. So the origin.
Oh my days, bruv.
So the origin of a Birkin bag is it was actually made and inspired by English actress and singer Jane Birkin. She's like old school. Okay. Birkin is a Hermes bag, so it's from the French superpower group
Hermes.
And essentially, they came in the 80s. They are a huge sign of incredible wealth. And as I say, it's like waiting lists to get on these things. So naturally, when Saweetie got onto Instagram Live or whatever it be and said that this is what is required if you were ever to have a what you would call a serious boyfriend, clearly the Instagram world and the social media world ran wild with it. And it caused quite a stir, to say the least.
I love my mum to the end of the world. I don't think I'd buy her a 25 bag.
What circumstances would you buy your other half a £25,000 bag?
If she was going to win 26,000 in court against me, or I could buy a 25 bag to pay her off, then I'd probably spend it. But
can I just put it very simply?
What?
If my life depended on it and somebody had a gun to my head.
Shit.
But where are you going to get 25 bag from, bro? With millennials, we ain't got peas, bro. Where are you going to get 25 bag from?
OnlyFans.
You just get yourself an account, rack it up, and then spend it on her. What's the most expensive thing you've ever bought for a woman?
I think I would say what item.
Yeah.
I would say a Saint Laurent bag.
Okay. How much I say you?
Probably about. I'm sorry, Mama. Probably about maybe 2.5, something like that.
2.5
Wait, hold on. Before we go, does your mum listen to the podcast?
My mum listens to Sniff.
Does your mum listen?
She hasn't started. She's in Nigeria, man. They got Wi-Fi.
My mum listens still.
Yeah,
and
my sister.
Oh, that's bleak.
That you basically set me up, so thank you. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Rich, what's the most expensive thing you bought for a woman?
So
can't finish it off quickly. But that was like in a previous relationship and whatnot, and the settings and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, it's our money, guys. Like whatever we want to do with our money is we work for that shit. God damn it.
No, we all got excuses, innit?
I mean, and it's our loved ones.
That's not. Just make clear. That's not starter pack dating Zavi. All right.
Come with no expectation.
But when you've got exhibitions at the Oxford Gallery, it's expected you've got Birkin bags to buy.
Nah,
Do you know what I mean?
real though,
that's a goodie bag thing. It doesn't even count. It's Happy Meal. It's Happy Meal.
Bro, you're selling your art.
That's Happy Meal, bro.
How much money left my account during that exhibition, bro? Like
them girls gonna be coming up to your house and be like,
"What, Nando's?
What do you mean? What do you mean you can't buy me a bag? Like that's just like you painting another piece of art in it."
They'll be like, "You belong to the streets."
Shit.
And listen, I'll be like,
paint another George Floyd. That'd be 5 bags for me.
Make some other cubic black mental health art. Go on, Rich. What's the most expensive thing you bought?
It's actually quite boring, and it was actually very practical. Like a MacBook. So a MacBook
for real.
That's actually that makes sense.
Yeah.
That
sent me back for my missus. That sent me back.
About 1.5.
1,003.
Yeah. So you're not that far off.
She needed that shit, and honestly, it was a selfish buy.
Now
I was sick and tired of her borrowing mine, to be honest.
I like that 1.5, 3, about 2.5.
Yeah.
We're making a market here.
Yeah.
Now, drum roll, please.
Johnny boy,
Mr. Johnny. Here's Johnny.
Firstly, I'm Jewish, so I don't spend nothing on anything.
We're not allowed to agree or disagree with that.
Yeah,
these
times.
You know what I mean? I saw what it did to Wiley. I'm joking.
Chill out, William.
I'm joking.
I don't think I've bought a single item. I think probably like I took my ex to the Seychelles.
Balling.
So no, hold on. When I say
no lie,
we know this.
No,
Johnny.
No, hold on. When I say I took her to the Seychelles, like my family are basically all Seychellois.
Bro, you need to sell this better. Fuck it out, mate.
Your family are also what?
Seychellois.
What does that mean?
From the Seychelles.
Wait, you're Jewish, Venezuelan, Nigerian, and Seychelles. Wow.
So,
fam, this guy works for the MI5, fam. Get him off the podcast, fam.
So granddad remarried my grandma Jenna, shout out, the most savage woman I ever met in my life.
Hey.
She's from the Seychelles, and I got 2 uncles and an auntie who are Seychellois. And all my cousins are from the Seychelles.
Oh, cool. Nice, man.
So when I say, like, people hear the Seychelles and think it's like some exclusive romantic
It is that too, though.
It is that. Don't try and cap.
It's a quick flight from Dubai, isn't it? Like it's probably not that deep.
You hear my man trying to water it down.
You live in Tottenham.
No, hold on. Same way. Like where people.
When he lives in Tottenham.
Hold on. Where people have got like family in the Caribbean, people have got family.
Yeah, and you got
in
family
Guadeloupe or whatever. Then like these sound like mad expensive destinations. But when you got family there, you don't spend on a hotel, so the P's aren't that expensive.
Yeah.
So I basically paid for, I think she paid for her flights and I paid for the hotels and whatever, but it come to about, I think she maybe spent $7 billion and I spent $2 for the holiday. And that was it.
Cool. Nice.
But I got to go to Seychelles at the same time. So these times, well, you're buying a bag for someone, like, I eat it because she's getting all the use in it. But at least I got to go for the Seychelles for the P that I spent.
You know you got a point.
The thing is about Birkins is they actually apparently they do appreciate in value. So they are
But to be honest, a lot
investments.
Do you know what I'm
to be honest, a lot of bags.
Also, stocks are investments too.
No, but no.
Buy
But
bonds.
I'll tell you
I'm
what,
gonna buy you some stocks.
No. How about this? But stocks can go down as well as up, right? But in terms of like Birkins and stuff and like just handbags, one thing I did learn is that leather bags actually appreciate and more time. It's more upside than downside. Like Prada,
though.
No, like Prada bags.
Michael Kors ain't gonna.
No, forget that. But it's not like Prada bags.
They're not leather. Michael Kors
Prada
is
bags,
trash.
Saint Laurent bags, Louis Vuitton bags. As they age, they actually get more expensive. Yeah, they actually increase in value
because they discontinue models and all this other stuff.
Exactly. So like literally, like my ex-girlfriend, for example. Yeah, like I remember her and her family, her and mum and that were like really into like handbags and whatnot.
Yeah, and
come to potentially selling them if they wanted to, or just checking the mark to market, they were actually more expensive than what they bought them for. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know you guys, if you guys want to start up like a little alternatives fund, like a handbag fund, then we can probably just chip in something and just hold on to it. You know what I mean? It'll do better than the S&P.
So are we going to like go fund me a Birkin for
the man them?
So on that note, what we're trying to say is we've got to go fund
www.
Yo, Zab, is she using the Birkin this weekend? No. All right, cool. Let me hold it for a few
days.
We need to go Seychelles for the week.
Do you know what I want to hear? I want to hear the most expensive thing that women have bought for a guy, bro.
You know what?
Because there'll be mad story. Can I let before you say anything? Because
Pandora's box.
Where these times, like, guys will try and go on a flex and buy something impressive for their women.
Can I just say,
it's a macho thing.
Meanwhile, they give you a framed picture of them.
I bought a bag. I bought shoes. I reckon there's plenty of women that have paid their man's rent.
Oh,
plenty of women who've paid their man's fucking fees.
Big up the women who are holding their men down.
I want to hear them costs
in silence as well. That's mad.
Shout out all the women who are holding down their men. Can
I just say, I haven't had a girl buy me a pair of white Air Force Ones. Let alone freaking, I don't know, like what boys into. Like I'm not into the normal shit.
Do you know what? My ex bought me a Sky remote, but it's got a Tottenham badge on it, and that's basically the only thing that I've still got from that relationship.
That's probably like
it costs $5.99, but it's the most valuable thing I own in my house.
Bro, I haven't had like little things like freaking. Yeah, Air Force Ones. I'm not even. I'm a simple man. I don't even ask for much. Like white Air Force Ones. Just drop it to my door, my fucking birthday, or if I
drop it to your door, they're bouts.
Or if I've done something, or freaking Christmas.
We don't want to spend birthday with her after she bought you white Air Force Ones. Yeah, that's rude.
I think the most expensive thing.
No wonder you're not getting shoes, but if you're asking her to buy Crepin and dip, obviously she's not going to buy you shoes, bruv.
Yeah, I think the most expensive thing I got is a watch. A Hamilton watch.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, I'm telling a big lie because I'm wearing an Apple Watch right now. My ex actually did buy me this Apple Watch.
I'm lying to I've had.
So that's like 400 or 500 or whatever that is.
Probably.
So my watch was, I think it was like between 700 and 800 quid. I think that was off the top of my head. That's the most expensive thing I received. But the thing is, like the minute they pop you out a Sprog, mate.
Yeah.
The minute they pop you out a Sprog,
we don't buy lock off.
You know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean presents? I gave you the most.
What do you mean? I
gave you the most valuable thing. I gave you the most valuable thing in all of life. I gave you a life. Fair point.
You know what? I think to be honest with you, the most expensive thing is probably like a Bottega wallet.
What's that?
Bottega is a brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be plugging designers and stuff.
I shop at Uniqlo.
I do like Bottega things, but I think Air Force Ones, just hinting out there, is probably the most fitting.
Any future hinge matches for Xavi?
Listen,
I beg you get the hint in
Ain't
it.
got hinge, man.
This
Ain't
is
got
an
hinge.
Air Force One friendly podcast.
This is the Air Force
It's an
One
Air
friendly.
Force
I've got
One
Air
podcast.
Force Ones
So
on.
anybody at Nike listening,
I don't know. I can't see on the camera, but who else is wearing Air Force Ones right now?
I'm wearing Wave Runners.
I think you are.
'Cause you're not
anyway.
6 foot.
I can't,
Richard,
I
what are
can't
you wearing?
see your feet right now, Johnny, on Zoom.
I'm telling you, I'm wearing Air
Richard,
Force.
what are you wearing?
I'm currently wearing some high dunk Michigans.
Shit. Sorry. Say that last bit again.
Richard, what are you wearing? I want to say it one more time.
Say it with your chest.
Some Nike dunk Michigans.
Oh, Charlie.
Richard, do you see this? This is a grenade. This is a virtual grenade. Just saying that.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm color coordinated as well.
We're a Boy Scout.
You know what I mean? I got a nice
scarf is dope.
It's a bandana.
I like it.
It's a bandana. It's a bit Boy Scoutish, but you know.
And I want to know how to do the babushka.
I feel you. I've not done the babushka yet. I've not done the head tie, but
Yo,
I'm gonna try it. It's big
soon.
enough. The reason I bought it is because it's like a huge bandana.
But you look wavy from what I can see on Zoom.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, by the way, our Zoom got extended. By the way, our timing got extended.
It's just good editing. Don't watch that. We got all the. Don't worry about that. We got you. As I say to every time, and I'll stop saying it once we get to a point where we're satisfied. But it's super important that you click like,
subscribe,
click follow, subscribe.
Takes a second.
Share the ting.
Takes a second.
You know what is also quite key?
What?
If you're somebody who likes push notifications on your phone, hit that push notification icon on the old Instagram as well, so you actually see our posts when we post them.
And whoever's mum or auntie is a WhatsApp warrior sending you daily devotions, just hit them back with this Good and Terribly podcast and tell them to share the thing with all their friends, innit?
Beg you, please.
100%. If you have some,
my mum said I need to articulate
phone,
myself better on the podcast, by the way. So next episode,
shout out
I'm
auntie.
handle that for her.
Shout out auntie.
The link tree is on the page.
My page too.
It's on the streaming platform you're listening to right now.
It's on all the individual pages.
But yeah, this has been solid.
And big up Biden.
Yeah.
Man like Joe.
Don't feel like you have to buy your other half £25,000 Birkin bags.
Say no to Birkin bags.
That's toxic
There ain't
chat.
a thing that a dick can't fix. I'm joking.
my
Make sure you
days.
always...
It's kind of sus, G.
Oh my
That
God.
escalated.
Nah. Don't feel like you have to buy your partner a £25,000 Birkin bag to show them that you love them. We don't need to drift the sexes apart any more than we already are. We don't need to obscure and distort the requirements or the entry-level requirements for relationships in this day and age. God damn it, this shit is hard enough without materialism coming into it.
But feel, by any means, if you want to treat your other half, the guy you're linking, your side man, to whatever,
Air Force Ones.
right, to white Air Force Ones, then just do it, honestly.
I'll take a pair.
Yo, no,
I'll take a pair.
I'll
take a pair.
Yo, and if
You
you're
want to compare, yeah.
and if
I'll
you're
take a
from
pair.
Nike, yeah,
Size 8, by the way.
UK
Size 8! Yo. And I'm UK.
What size are you?
Listen,
I'm size
listen.
10 cause I'm 6 foot. So
So,
don't chat
and
to
I'm
me,
UK
bruv.
7.5 in Air Force Ones. And I'm 6 foot.
So yeah.
But you are funny though, so.
UK 10 for Johnny.
But I'm
UK
funny.
10 for Abby in Air Force Ones. And UK 7.5 for Zabby in Air Force Ones?
in Air Force Ones,
Alright,
yeah.
cool, yeah.
That's
Just in
mad.
case we got some Nike people listening. Nah, man.
Yeah.
We like, and Uniqlo as well, I'm XL.
If you want to sponsor,
what?
if you want to sponsor the people who are making this podcast, you can send us the
Are you speaking
shoes.
Spanish or Nigerian?
No, it's English, but we have Spanish accent.
Okay, I'm with you. Go on, yeah. I'll tell you what, yeah. On that note,
We out.
we out.
Bye.